frame just as we made contact with the internet, and one of Kurt's eyes was half open and the other one totally closed.
Sure.
Look,
That's
yeah,
how I like to present to the world. That's kind of like the vibe that I bring to the
yeah,
situation.
yeah, yeah. It's kind of like
Like
a,
I'm keeping my eye on you, and the other one, it's just taking a little rest.
and I'm only half keeping my eye on you because I'm friendly, I'm chill.
Sure. We don't need to go too in depth, you know.
Welcome to all those viewing it, you sneaky sneakers, you somehow watching a recorded version of a stream, or who have been waiting for this moment for us to be live. Hello, welcome to
Hello, welcome.
a special podcast in which two chipper gentlemen wait for their friend to play games. You know?
Wow, that sounds like us.
I was thinking about how there is actually something very particular about the social experience of being in a group that's not quite whole yet. You know, when you're still waiting for somebody, and so there's this like unresolved social chord that has not yet resolved, and like I feel like it leads to like an interesting, you know, the conversation just feels different when you're like liminally talking to each other, and you won't, it's not going to go on forever, and that's what this particular part of the stream grants you in a way that no other piece of media can, you know? An authentic experience of
This
waiting
is
for
the
your
one.
friend. Yeah.
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 You're like, I mean, they said they were coming.
I'm pretty sure
I
they're
don't
coming.
like we shouldn't start eating because I know like they said that I know that they are coming and I know that they told us we weren't going to get here at the same time. So like they're definitely coming.
Definitely. They've got to
That's
be here
that's
somewhere.
yeah. Now, what's funny is that this experience, I think, maybe had more of a different feeling at a different point in time.
Ah,
By
yes.
that, I mean, there was an era in the ancient times in which if you're meeting your friend out and about, you can't contact them to see, you can't call them, you can't text them, you can't do anything but stand beside the 7-Eleven that they said they were going to be at 4 p.m. and just wait because that's all.
That's all.
You're
And
just there.
it's like, I know this is like a super kind of cliched thing to say, and, you know, whatever. It's only been like 15 years, but like, that experience now of like waiting for someone and they haven't like texted you back and you've been waiting at a place for like 5 minutes for them, it feels deeply unmoored, right? Imagine having to like put up with that with no end in sight for greater than 15 minutes. My goodness.
Whoa,
Whoa, we're being raided.
we're being raided in a premeditated kind of way. We're being raided. Welcome, everyone, from our dearest Amanda's live stream. Thank you for coming. We promise that Amanda will be here soon. So if you left and you were like, Amanda said she'd be here, and now she's not,
Where is she?
where is she?
She
Well,
will
she
be
will
here.
be here.
She will
Right
indeed.
now, our best people are looking at the Zoom call and waiting to see if Amanda is on the line.
One of the tricky parts about my life is that I have to both look at the stream and at the Zoom call at the same time in order to see when Amanda's here, so I don't leave her like just waiting desperately to get into her own stream. But I'm on it. I am waiting.
Odin gave you two eyes so that you could do what he cannot.
Did Odin create us? Okay, I'm not sure.
I don't
I'm a
know.
little
I don't know
rusty
in Norse
on my
mythology.
Norse mythology.
Yggdrasil? Do we just come from Yggdrasil?
Yeah, that's
I
the
should
tree.
know this. I got like my dad's whole family's vaguely Norse.
Whoa, his
I shouldn't say
family's
vaguely.
Norse.
Straight up, everyone was born in Norway except my dad. Um,
Wow. And Amanda's
hello.
here.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Hey,
All of you watching
Amanda.
at home might see a cool reimagining of what a stream overlay should look like until, oh, and
Hmm.
now we've got an overlay.
The wrong overlay. What? This is just so that you will be surprised when the
Get
when
ready.
the game gets announced. Kurt, what are we playing today?
Well, some say it's Quantum Nobodies, but people who read the title of the stream might know that it is actually, in truth, Bleak Spirit, a
Wow.
Dun, dun,
game
dun.
about a land in faded grandeur, cryptic, mysterious, maybe even a little cynical, probably kind of tragic. And we've got a wanderer who's moving through it and seeing all there is to see on a great quest.
Whoa!
But
Whoa.
before we can get to that, I suppose it would make sense to have us all say who the heck we are. Hi, I'm Kurt. I'm already talking, so I might as well just keep the microphone. Nice to meet you, everybody, or more likely, nice to see you again. Uh, Welcome to the stream. We like to play games every Monday night under a banner called Lies You'll Enjoy, and that's only one of the three people that's here. So I will digital clockwise pass the mic up to Anthony.
Oh, I didn't even realize I was digital clockwise. Hello, I am indeed Anthony. I love role-playing games. Have been playing since I was but a wee child. Sometimes I write kids' books. Sometimes I do economics. But every asterisk, sometimes most, Monday nights, I am here playing games with these two good friends of mine. And I'm going to pass the mic over to our last member, last but not least, and most prideful and best dressed, Amanda.
Hello, everyone. How's it going? You might know me, you might not. For those of you that came in with the raid, thanks for joining us for the raid, everyone. I appreciate it. My name is Amanda. You might also know me as Vamp. I am a variety streamer. I stream on Twitch and YouTube. I'm also a YouTuber. I make YouTube videos. I'm also an actor. Some of you may know that because you were maybe there when I left my stream for like around an hour to go do an audition in the midst of it because you're all crazy and you let me do that. So thank you again very much for that, for being like, don't wait till after stream. Don't end stream early. Just take a break now and film it. You guys are crazy and I love you. But yeah, so I do a lot of nerdy stuff on the internet, and then I also am an actor as well. And I love RPGs and I love playing with my friends Kurt and Anthony. And I dressed today for my stream because I was like, I'm not going to be able to probably get out and do anything Pride this month, which is a little bit sad for me. So I was like, but you know what? I can bring my rainbow energy to stream. And then I read what our game was, Bleak Spirits. And I was like, okay, well.
If only there was some kind of schedule that you both had access to.
I did. I looked literally after I got dressed for stream before I went live. And I was like, And then I was like, well, for my photos, should I do a different outfit? But then I was like, let's be real. I'm not going to change probably. I'm just going to come right from stream. And you could be bleak and be in rainbows. Why not?
I think that's true. You ever look up the sky and you see a rainbow and it's such a cloudy day that there's still a part of melancholy running through it? I've seen it.
Yes, I think we've all looked up at rainbows sometimes and still felt sad. So very possible.
Even sometimes a pot of gold isn't enough.
That's true.
And there
That's
you
a
have
comment
it.
on life. Yeah.
That's just I'm just spitting facts out here.
Neither rainbows nor gold nor any of the Lucky Charms can actually cheer you out of a bleak state. That's rough.
And that's rough.
That's rough because I love a little green hat, you know?
We all love a little green hat.
Who doesn't?
Now and then. So I guess we're playing Bleak Spirit today, which yes, sounds like it will be pretty somber in terms of the tone.
Yeah, but I think we'll have fun.
I think we're gonna have a great time.
You know us.
I think we'll have
You
a
know
good
how
time.
this
Yeah,
works.
Yeah. I feel like also I saw in the schedule that you said that it was inspired. It was like it's kind of got a Dark Souls vibe to it.
It does. In fact, it is very, very Dark Souls vibe to it. That's
So
what they're going
first Dark
for.
Souls style anything.
Well, there you go. So the vibe is sort of majesty, mystery. The landscape looms vast and conceals manifold cryptic secrets. I might as well just keep going. The twisted descendants of ancient civilizations live among the faded glories of their forebears, pursuing arcane agendas indecipherable to outsiders. And in the primordial woods and swamps, fabled treasures and long-forgotten sorceries lie guarded by deadly monsters both fearsome and noble. This world is gloomy, desolate, lonely, but also beautiful. Long-abandoned fortress ruins still stand as awe-inspiring testament to the might and vision of their creators, beside the hungry beasts that prowl the forest's flowers grow, picked out by rays of sunlight glancing through the leaves. Into this world comes a wanderer, a lone traveler from somewhere else, who bears a heavy destiny. Bleak Spirit is their story. I would invite both of those present in the call to open up our playsheet entitled Playsheet, Bleak Spirit. I see Amanda's already there. I've also given you a set of rules this week so you can reference things if you would like to.
Thanks, Kurt.
I will try to cover everything anyway.
Thanks. Although the art is really good in this book too.
It's pretty.
It's got some good art.
It's pretty. Shout out to Galen Peugeot. I haven't had to say that name out loud, but there I went into it. Galen Peugeot did the cover and interior art, and that's neat. They're pretty. Cool.
Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah, it should be pretty good. We're going to start up by doing a little bit of world building here. Basically, we aren't going to know that much about why this game.
Right.
We aren't going to know why the world looks like it does. We aren't going to know even why our main character does things. In fact, one of the biggest rules of the game is that you will describe what the main character does, clenched her fist and furrowed her brow, pulled out her sword and addressed them, said blah, blah, blah. But you won't say she was angry, clenched her fist and put, no, you won't. You also won't say she looked at the scene and remembered her place back home. No, if it's in her head, it's not out here. We are seeing what we're seeing. We are not in that brain. That's cool as hell.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah.
No exposition at all.
That's going to be, I feel like that's going to be a fun challenge.
Right.
To not add any more context than just what's happening. Obviously, we can still use imagery.
Of course, yeah. Describe the world in rich details, you know, what we see, what we're looking at, but we are told to discuss nothing.
Yes.
Your ideas, your theories, your trajectory for the story, we are not going to talk about it. In fact, after every scene, we're all going to privately write little predictions about the answers to questions about the world and the grand adversary.
Oh, cool.
That stands at the end. But we won't know what those are or the answers are before then, which is just neat. Yeah, that's right, Sierra. Full show don't tell mode. I'm in fact pinning that.
Show don't tell.
Show don't tell. Show don't tell. Sorry, that's Rush. Not even a popular Rush song. It's like from their worst era as far as people are concerned. But
that's okay. Everyone still loves Rush.
I mean, are we just so Canadian coded that we just feel that's true?
No, I think that's just true. I think so.
Sound off in the comments if you even know who Rush is.
Oh, people know who Rush is. Sound off in the comments if you don't like Rush.
Yeah, and we'll make fun of you.
Only the haters rise up.
I just want to know, because I feel like I haven't met anyone that doesn't like Rush, but I mean, I'm sure they exist.
You know how they have subscribers only chat mode? We should have haters only chat mode.
JK says Rapal said, who's Rush? And then said JK?
Yeah, only knowing Rush because of Northern Lion does sort of suggest that it might be a Canadian thing. That's a good point.
Well, yeah, I mean, Rapala, I think, knows who Rush is. Locke said, spoiler me, I'm the last adversary.
Ooh.
Well, there you go.
Wow.
Well, there you go.
At the end, we will be countering a fox.
Yes, there you go. Okay, so let's jump into it. Let's just jump into stuff here.
Let's just play some game.
So we start by talking about the tone, and the default tone is cryptic, sort of a melancholic setting of faded grandeur. Imagine a sunset on a crumbling gray fortress on the edge of a cliffside. Are we cool with that being our vibe?
Yes.
That sounds great.
Perfect.
Sounds good.
Stakes. We are going to choose what the stakes are for our wanderer. We have 4 options. They can be passing through. They're going to survive. Definitely going to be changes in the setting as a result of their storyline, but they're going to be localized or minor. We can have Doomed Pilgrim. It's the climax of the Wanderer's story. They might or might not survive, but certainly they'll be forever transformed by their experiences. But the world will go on much as it always has. We could have Traveler in Black, where the Wanderer is here for a short time, will lose a little, but the world will be forever altered by their passage. And then we have Ultimate Finale, where the Wanderer's sort of life and the fate of the world are both at stake. Everything can change, nothing is safe. By default, I guess passing through, if we don't have strong feelings, is the option, but all four of them are coded right into the book. What's our vibe?
Passing through, Doomed Pilgrim, Traveler in Black, Ultimate Finale. These are our choices?
Yep.
Okay.
That's them. So, minor change to Wanderer in the world, minor change to world but not Wanderer, minor change to Wanderer but not world, and big change to both. Woo.
I mean, like, so passing through seems challenging in a way, because I think that a natural instinct towards storytelling is to enter and change, you know? Like, either the world is changed or I am changed. So I mean, maybe that's the reason to do it, but it just feels hard. I wanna make this decision when we're halfway through the game, but that's not what we're supposed to do.
I mean, I think we can, because there's a part 1. So I feel like let's just choose at the end of part 1.
Okay, sounds good.
Cool, great. Now our setting. By default, if we don't discuss this, we're gonna end up with sort of a European idea of fantasy with castles and forests and stuff like that. But if we talk about it, we might end up somewhere else. We could be in a desert with great minarets rising from the earth. We could be in some strange polar climate. We could have a setting half as weird as what we had last week. Do we have thoughts on the overall sort of architectural or visual elements of this landscape, of this ecosystem, of this architecture? Whatever. Just big broad brush ideas. Broad stroke ideas. Broad
Right.
stroke ideas with a large brush.
Here's an idea. Just throwing things out there. What about, so I'm imagining the ruins, of course, are an important part of this game, right? Like, we're fading grandeur, there's a world that used to be. What if there are 2 layers of ruins? There's a layer of ruins which is like way too large to make any sense, and then a civilization built on top of that is also in decline.
Cool. I'm down. Amanda, you got any off the dome visual things you want to see?
No, I'm good with that. That sounds pretty cool.
I want a lot of moss. Moss all over stuff.
Moss all over stuff.
I feel like it should be dark. Like, I feel like everything I'm thinking of is not really original though, so like it should be dark, maybe?
Yeah. Dark is great. Yeah. I like literally that's the level of detail that we're going into.
Really
here.
Bright. And also super colorful. And also
super colorful. And
dark,
also it's Pride Month.
Moss, 2 levels of faded
Dark
civilization.
yeah.
All good with that as far as I'm concerned.
And of course, unsettling rainbows that bring no cheer.
Yeah,
unsettling rainbows. Great. Okay. I feel like we've got element. Oh, and I want pillars.
I really want
pillars. I want pillars.
Yeah, cool. I think pillars is a must.
A bit of stained glass.
Ooh,
yeah, sure.
Stained glass.
I mean, with rainbows, come on. Ooh. I think we're going to evoke things that are like rainbows and also have rainbows.
Yes, good.
Great. Okay. Within this setting, we are going to be exploring a particular area. Our entire story is going to take place in this area. It could be something like a grand fortress and all of its grounds in the neighboring woods. It could be the flooded tunnels that stretch through somewhere, vast flooded tunnels. We want this to be large enough that we can have sub-locations in it, each of which is larger than a single room. But we also want it to be constrained enough that like we have a thought where this takes place. So
hanging gardens.
Yep.
First idea.
Done. The hanging gardens. Boom.
And hanging can mean whatever.
Sure can.
Whoa. That's heavy, man.
Dude.
Beautiful.
Think about how hanging has like multiple.
You ever think about how one meaning of hanging could be like plants from your ceiling and you have a decor channel, and the other meaning can get you unlisted from YouTube?
Well, I don't know about that. We've seen some things that there wasn't a lot of repercussions for
Fair
on
enough.
YouTube. So
Otto, I'm really digging this belly-based status of being. How are you doing? I ate, so I'm good.
About belly sound off. What degree of full is everyone? I just ate dinner. My belly's full, so I'm all right.
Comfortably, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, all I've had today is part of this protein shake, so I'm
No!
pretty hungry.
All right. You know, we paused your stream for you to do a audition. We might have to pause this stream for you to eat food.
I'm just waiting for once we've like built, once we're like ready to jump in, that I was gonna be like, I just need a few minutes to just pop laundry in and put ribs in the oven so that I can eat something in a bit. But also I love that Sonic over in the YouTube chat has said, this is an interesting game of charades. Oh yes, it will indeed be an interesting game of charades.
It's gonna get more interesting.
Oh yeah.
Salmon couscous is absolutely sounds great.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Sick.
So you will eat some food.
So we've got our area, the
Okay.
Hanging Gardens.
Sweet.
And yeah, I think we can interpret that however we want to. So, okay, cool. Before we start the game, we are also each going to make a location. Don't have to put a lot into this, but we gotta just make a place within the Hanging Gardens in which a scene can be set that is bigger than a single room. Doesn't have to be a lot bigger than a single room, but like we need a little bit of real estate here, baby.
So we're each making a room, basically?
Nope, exactly not. We need to
Oh.
make a location that's larger than a single room.
Like
So bigger.
area is
Sorry, I
the
thought you were like,
Hanging Gardens.
it has to at least be a room. And I was like, okay.
It
Room
must
plus.
be larger than
Room
a single
plus.
room. It could be
Okay.
like, a wing. It could be, a whatever.
Yeah, the examples are like the Leaning Tower, the Beast Pens, the Experiment Chambers, that kind of thing. I think that gives
The
a good
rolling
sense.
fields of locks.
The rolling fields
May I
of
ask
locks.
how you have spelled locks?
Isn't like lakes versus versus locks versus
Yeah.
locks
Yeah.
Versus locks.
Oh.
versus
yeah.
Different
locks.
meanings
I
of
think
locks.
let's keep it
Locks.
open. I'm fine. Unless you've got a specific thing that you want to prescribe, I'm fine with it just being like,
I
what
like it
kind
with
of
the
locks?
K just because
Yeah.
it looks like harsh, you know? So
Sure.
although I must say locks in chat do like that version of lock as well. So both are
Yeah.
good locks.
Game
But I think
recognized game.
CK is kind of where my mind was at. But I like the suggestion of CH. It's interesting. Yeah, it could be interpreted either way. And then I have to describe it?
You don't really have to. I feel like you've given us an evocative notion. If you want to add anything to that spot in the spreadsheet, sort of shape it around, feel free to do so.
No, I like that we leave it open. It could be any kinds of locks. It could be multiple kinds of locks for all we know.
Damn straight. Cool. I feel like I want I want to have a place where everything is like the baths. I want the baths, I think, is what I
Ooh,
want.
okay, nice. I was thinking about something like kind of like about irrigation, like baths. Though this is good. That's the vibe I wanted.
There's hot springs. There's sort of cooling baths. Everything's crumbling, sort of in ruins. Some parts are buried. Some parts are accessible, I think, with still water that still flows through them. Not still water that flows through them. Still water can't flow. Cool.
And mine is the City of Glass. It's going to be a whole complex of
Ooh.
greenhouses.
Wow, City of Glass.
Beautiful. That is sick as hell. During the course of the game, we will visit these locations and sort of preferentially, if possible, if it makes sense, we will revisit these locations. So each scene will be a new location. And it's nice to go back to where we've been before for that good old-fashioned callback. What is an RPG if not a callback machine? And we want that. But sometimes it will make sense to go to a new location, in which case we will just add it to our roster.
Cool.
Great. So those are the things that I thought would take longest in setup. So I'm absolutely ripping along here. I feel good. I feel great. Sorry, this isn't about
Crushing
me.
it.
We're crushing it, is what I'm saying.
Everybody, let's just go through what everyone's feeling right now.
Yeah,
Check in.
we got to put some baffles so that we don't actually stay on time.
Yeah.
We have a wanderer.
Okay.
The wanderer is our main character. Indeed, they're the only character that we are ever going to like embody. There will be other characters that we'll run into, but we won't know their motivations necessarily. They're going to be cryptic and weird. Sometimes we'll be able to sort of divine what they're doing, what they want, but everyone in this game is not going to tell us what their deal is. They're going to be weird about it. They're going to be mysterious. They're going to be so obsessed with their own quest and their own situation that the wanderer is almost just an idea to them. Does it fit into their worldview? Is this person a person? Or are they just like something that is a representation? Are they part of my pilgrimage? Are they in opposition? You know, they're too into their own heads, man.
I like really like that actually.
It's so cool.
I like when there's mystery because it's like sometimes when you don't say stuff, it like gives you more story in your mind.
See, you're right on the vibe then, because this game is full on mystery. We have like some really cool mystery type mechanics, and it's actually adapted from a game that is also sort of mystery adjacent. It was called Lovecraft-esque. We've never played that one. I've never played that one, but someday, day. So our wanderer needs some stuff. Wanderer will need a name. We don't have to start with that if that's the hardest one to do, which
It often is, I find. I can't start with names. It's challenging.
So let's start with the wanderer's style. This is their aesthetic.
Ooh, their
How do they
style.
dress? What weapons or sorcery do they wield? Just like what they look like, you know?
I think they have a cape.
Sick, yeah.
Yeah.
Caped. Can I say cloaked? I like cloak
Cloaked.
even more than
Can I
cape.
say that the back of the cloak has like barbs on it?
Like
it's
actually
like
like
a cloak.
physical barbs?
Yeah, like I want to say like the inside of it so that they're not like hurt is that, but like it's almost like a weapon cape. Like the back of it has like barbed wire on it or something.
Cool.
There's like these barbs sticking out.
Sick. Nice.
That is cool as hell. Now we practically just gave them an outfit and a weapon. I kind of want a tunic. You know?
I like
Okay,
it.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Do we have gender thoughts on our wanderer?
I want femme wanderer.
Yeah,
Sure.
same. I'm kind of thinking she, her.
Great.
Yes.
Great. Okay. All right. I feel like we got some cool things. Wait, one more. I want a flower crown of thorns.
Ooh.
Oh, I like that.
Cool.
Slightly digging into the flesh.
Oh, just a
Scarred
little.
or just constantly.
I mean, I think there's calloused skin here. But if it's thematically appropriate, of course, old wounds can open. The next is background. Now, background is a little misleading in this.
Okay, wait. Can we just say that there's like embroidered flowers on the tunic?
Inside of the tunic
sure.
or outside?
On the
Outside.
Tunic.
Yeah,
Sorry.
like embroidered flowers and like hedges.
Okay, like kind of like densely decorative. I'm imagining, like kind
Yeah,
of really like rich
yeah,
in texture.
yeah,
Okay, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, texture.
Are they? I
I
want to
I
know.
feel like texture is the style.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
I'm feeling texture a lot with this character.
Yeah.
Is their clothing in good condition? Is it like tattered or is it whole? I don't. That's the thing I'm struggling to imagine in my mind.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna volunteer. Perhaps it's like been mended many times.
Yeah.
So like all that
Worn.
embroidery on the tunic is
Yeah.
a visible mend of like tears in the tunic.
Ooh. So it's like just like been growing flowers that have been repairing
So it's kind of
rips.
like chaotic because it's like it's not really like one piece. It's like pieces that have been added over time as it's been mended.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
That's
I
and
really
you
like
see that
that.
I
That's
think when you
cool.
look at them. Great.
That's really cool. Cool.
Okay. Background. So this isn't like we don't get to know the story of the Wanderer, but we will describe their place of origin. Like what does it look like back home?
Um, Imagining like something like clean, something pristine, perhaps like cliffs of Dover, like chalk cliffs, and like a Rivendell like uh, fine architecture.
Gray. Is there maybe okay? Is there maybe a great body of water just on the very clear day you can see from the Hanging Gardens to the White Cliffs?
Yeah, yeah, to
Cool.
the very edge of things.
Beautiful. Um, they will also have a trinket from their homeland. Why they have it is not something we get to know, but they have some kind of trinket. If you don't know what a trinket could be, there's some sort of lists of possible trinkets on our book, in our book, somewhere,
Somewhere.
somewhere.
I'm assuming a trinket is like a little, just like a little item, like a little bottle or a watch or a.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
a golden ring.
Is
Uh, yeah, uh, a small tablet, not like a, I'm not imagining a technology situation in this world.
an
A
iPad Mini.
photograph, a locket, a
What about
A
clock, a
Zune.
watch.
okay, on the pocket watch vibes, maybe just this doesn't have to be the final thing, just like an hourglass that's like still running, like running very slowly.
A constantly running hourglass, like no matter which way that's running down
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Maybe
Just
it's
like
like
or up, I guess, depending on
strapped.
how you look at it.
strapped in
Yeah,
place.
maybe
Strapped.
it's sort of strapped in. And so when you're up, the hours tick by.
When you go to sleep,
They don't.
timer stops.
Ah.
Cool. I don't think there's sand in there. I think it's something else. Because it would have to be too big to just be always
Okay, yeah, 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 yeah.
something that moves slowly. We don't need to know what it is. I'm just putting it out there.
Okay, I like it.
Power. We're not going to say what the Wanderer's powers are. We will say what the source of their strength is.
Okay.
I guess, I mean, we could say what the powers are, like in general, but like we're not going to define like all magics and such. We're just getting a general idea.
Wait, we just want to
It says, what's the source of their strength?
source of their
Um,
strength. Okay.
yeah,
Source of their strength.
depending on how we angle this, even their life. But they will accomplish
Everything they set out to accomplish.
if they so choose.
Yeah. Okay. I want to say their power comes from like their swiftness. Like I think they're very like fast.
Ooh, that's
I
sick as
think.
hell. So she's like a rocket. Oh, and then she turns and her cape flutters and
Yeah.
lashes against whoever dared oppose her.
Mm.
Nice.
Cool. Uh, yeah, I feel like that's probably enough. Um, Finally, we have the question of her behavior. Now, because we don't get to see her internal monologue, this has to be something that could be we could perceive from outside, perhaps inquisitive, cautious, impatient. Yeah, some trait like that.
I'm trying to think about like maybe things that are an interesting combination with her being so physically fast. Like, no, what if she was very cautious or ponderous, and yet physically very fast, sort of slow to action but quick things?
Mm. So very like pensive.
Yeah, possibly.
I
I like
think that
that.
makes sense. There's some perfect word for this that's dangling on the outside of my brain, but we've got it, right? We got the idea.
Yeah.
Cool. And I guess I'll just type in our glass strapped to chest. Cool. Okay.
Wary?
Weary? No, weary's
Wary?
kind of wary.
Very
Wary.
kinda.
Is that what you're thinking of? Or cautious? Calculated?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Just trying to think of the word that you might be thinking of, but I was like, these are things that I think fit.
Calculated is really solid.
Okay. Precise. She's like, I'm gonna think about this, and then when I go in, it's like ding bang boom, done.
Ding bam boom, as everyone always says.
Honestly, sounds
Deliberate,
like
I
a good
guess, is what
deliberate.
I was
Ooh, that's a
thinking
good
of.
one. I feel like sounds like also a good way to maybe approach a Souls game where you kind of make sure you take a
Hmm.
look at everything and then you're like, okay, this is the tactics that I'm going to use. Because I know you need to pay attention to like everything that's going on and use the right tactics when you're fighting certain things, I think, is what I've heard from people. Can't just go in and be like, I'm going to do whatever. Doesn't usually work in Souls games.
Okay, and now that we've done all that, we do have to return to a name for her. She
Mm.
Okay.
wears a cloak with barbs sticking out, a tunic beneath embroidered with flowers mending tears, flowers and hedgerows, a flower crown of thorns, comes from a place of white cliffs and fine architecture, wears an hourglass strapped to her chest, moves quickly in combat, slowly until deciding what to do. What is this person's name?
I'm thinking either Thorn or Blanche.
I mean, Thorn kind of rules, honestly. Like it's on the nose, but I think in a great way. It's got to be Thorn. I
Thorn.
think
Okay.
I think you nailed it in one, honestly, Amanda.
Okay, Thorn.
I mean, you took two swings, but they were both good swings.
The first one was all you needed.
Yeah,
Second one was
that's what
overkill.
I'm saying.
I felt like Thorn was what initially came to my mind, but then I was like, is that too on the nose? And I was like, but I feel like you want that for this kind of
You
game.
do, you know, sometimes you just want the obvious thing. This game, because we can't really communicate what our like theories of why are in this game, there's a lot of that sort of element of, well, say what makes sense, you know, say what comes to you.
Yeah, it feels like it's a very like instinctive game where when your instinct is like, just say this, then you just should do that and don't worry too much about everything else around it.
Right. Though we
Yeah.
are welcome to make, if there's something that does come up intuitively that we don't like, we can always exit.
Okay.
As always, X, it,
It.
separate words. Confusing saying them so quickly like that. And that's everything we need to do to set up our little world.
Great.
Here are some things about how we play. In this game, there are 3 roles. It's not an exactly 3-player game, but I think really that's its ideal form. um, who knows what the creator would say about that? There are 3 roles, and we will be rotating each round. You will have the next role. For the first round, Anthony will be taking on the role of the world. The world is functionally, if I'm going to couch this in traditional metrics, this is the game master of sorts. It is the world's role to portray the environment and characters that we encounter. If the wanderer does something challenging or engages a threat in a danger scene, you're going to set a price that the wanderer must pay in order to succeed. Sometimes you might ask questions to a player called the chorus. They're there to support you. So the chorus's role is just to add details that elaborate on the details you've already given. Oh, there's a crown of thorns, you might say. Your chorus might say, and you can see the calloused scar tissue underneath. So the chorus is backing you up, but not introducing like new story elements. You may ask the chorus to portray characters if you wish, and they'll do that based on the ideas that you set out for that character. And you are also the one who declares the scene end. But there's two last things that are important for the world. Thing number one, you're choosing the scene type. This could change over the course of the scene, but there are three types: danger, feature, and interaction. A danger scene has that price involved. There's some danger. It could be a sort of violent nature. It could instead be environmental, scale a difficult wall, cross this hanging bridge. So that's a danger scene, and we need 2 of them in the first part of our game out of 5. We could have more if we wish. There's interaction scenes in which there's a character. And then there are feature scenes in which, in a feature scene, the wanderer is going to have sort of a solo moment in the environment. And in the first part of our game, there's going to be places of natural beauty, historic locations, places of peace and reflection. It'll be a moment of calm, a bonfire, if you will. It's a little shout out for the dark heads out there.
That's where you save, right? At the bonfire.
That's right. So this is analogous to those moments.
Got it.
And critically, this is the last thing, the world is determining a piece of lore. What is lore? Lore is the only thing that will matter at the end of the game when we decide how it all works out. Lore is some insight into the world or the places around it, some detail that makes us ask, why? Why? It's not an answer why, it's something. Perhaps there's petrified statues of people all across this place. That's a piece of lore. Perhaps where water once ran through, lava now flows. In some detail that raises a lingering question, and that's neat.
That's fun.
Yeah, so the wanderer, I guess, will discover that lore, and you got to make sure that they do. It's not hidden, right? Your purpose of the scene is to introduce this lore, but it is, that's why you're here, world, to convey a piece of lore about anything, the adversary, the setting, even the wanderer themselves. Interaction scenes are more likely to reveal those sorts of elements, but yeah. Whew, okay. Said a lot of words. I hope that everyone bore with me.
So that's the feature scene?
So all 3 scene types will reveal a piece of lore.
Okay.
Yep. Yes.
Okay.
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 Also, Matthew says that they need to see Alt Kurt now.
What does it mean?
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
I don't know. Matthew, you need to expand. Alt
Matthew.
Kurt?
Matthew, last name.
Matthew Steve.
No, but I know Matthew's 2 last names in real life, so I need Matthew last name to tell me the truth, to expand.
We need the lore.
We need the lore. Dark Kurt?
Dark Kurt.
You can't handle Dark Kurt.
I think Dark Kurt might come out in this Dark Souls inspired game.
Oh, the aesthetic. I mean, during
Mm.
one session of Butterfly Court, there was like I had like face jewelry and a whole
That's true.
situation. So
That's
feel
true.
free to watch the VOD on that if you want to see alt Kurt. Okay, I'm
Ooh.
gonna read out this.
I love how in answering that question, you're like, you should check out our previous VOD for this.
Hey, look, it was natural.
Perfect shout out. It
I had to
was
tell you.
seamless.
Okay, can I read out the passage on examples of lore? Because I think we'll all trip over this if I don't.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, let's do it.
Lore can come in many forms, including but not limited to trinkets and objects, the history of which is known to the wanderer, corpses of a strange aspect or in unusual locations, the observations of a hunter, like tracks or leavings or, anything that an animal would leave behind, tales told by other characters, written information on scraps of paper, moldering scrolls engraved in the scenery, forensic traces, gouge marks in the walls, blood stains, fires burning out of control, eldritch manifestations like flames in strange colors, weird smells, distant echoing sounds, cryptic visions. The world not being as it should, excessive growth in plants or animals, terrain folding into unnatural shapes. Whew. So many things
Moss
could be lore.
everywhere. Moss on the
Moss
ceiling.
everywhere.
Moss in the cupboard. You open it up, it's just filled with moss.
Moss.
Why? We don't know. Why so moss?
Why so moss? Why so mossiest? Whoops.
Okay. So we gotta and then we write it down to keep track of our lore.
Yes, we'll write a tiny little summary of what the lore was. And that's pretty much the game. The Wanderer player will be the Wanderer. That works exactly how you'd think, with the obvious wrinkle of don't say what they think and feel, only what they do and say. And the chorus they're just backup singer for the world. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Sweet.
If you forget any of these, there's plenty of notes on the sheet. And also, yeah, I'll tell you if you want to ask.
Cool. All right. Well, before we start, should I step away for a few moments just to do a quick little reset so I can
Yeah.
eat food?
Yes,
Please
please.
do, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And then I'm so excited to start this. This sounds so fun.
Yay. Okay, you go
Reset
take care of
as
you.
well.
Thank you everyone for your patience. We will be right back.
I think face jewelry can be alt, Matthew. I don't know what alt is
Stop
if it doesn't involve
gatekeeping alt.
face jewelry. Does it involve eyeshadow? I've been there. Who's to say, really?
Which did we blink out there for a second? Curious.
On Twitch?
Yeah, our timer, our stream timer restarted. I didn't notice what happened. I didn't see it, but thought that was strange.
Twitch, you being a little silly Billy bad boy.
Come on.
I shouldn't talk to Twitch that way. Twitch might get the wrong idea.
You got any new game ideas rumbling around in your
Always?
head? Always.
Yeah, right now I'm trying to design one about the history of an Ottawa tavern. There's a game jam going on right now called Maple Jam, and in it you can make anything inspired by sort of Canadian history, Canadiana culture, something that riffs on a design made by a Canadian designer. Technically, being a Canadian designer, I could just submit anything, but I don't think that seems fair.
Whoa.
So I went to the local museum called the Bytown Museum, which is all about the construction of the very long canal in Ottawa that stretches far beyond Ottawa, I suppose, as well, and also the early origins of the city. In this place, I learned of one of the earliest structures in a certain part of Ottawa called Mother Firth's Tavern. Mother Firth's Tavern was run by a woman named Mary.
Mary Firth?
Mary Firth by marriage. Mary Firth, her partner and his brother ran this tavern, and the land this tavern was on was unceremoniously and sneakily purchased by an absent man who wanted to make a profit by buying this land and selling it back to the crown at an inflated price. There was a grand courtly procedure in which this was fought over and about. The guy who originally owned the land lost the case because of a corrupt judge. His tombstone said victim of colonialism.
Whoa,
Uh, yeah,
that's
and
hardcore.
that's hardcore. And what's crazy is that everybody loses in this story because the guy who bought the land thought that he was going to be able to like profit from the fact that this was the route of the canal.
Ah,
That big
yes,
canal that Ottawa was so famous for,
of course.
that was going to be the route. But the colonel who built the canal, the royal engineer, Colonel John By, said, that sucks. I'm adding more locks and going around. And so now the canal doesn't come out there. It comes out somewhere, gosh, like like a kilometer or two to the east. It was
Whoa,
would have gone through Le Breton Flats, which, by the way, guy who bought up that land, that's Le Breton.
LeBren. LeBren's the guy.
Uh-huh. Le Breton's the guy. So is this story going to be about the rough and tumble canal folk and lumber folk who would come to this tavern and their lives and glimpses into their rough dealings in the very violent and rowdy city that was early Ottawa? Is it going to be about the lawsuit itself? Is it going to be about the construction of the canal? I'm not 100% sure yet, but something's brewing over there.
That's so cool. I love that.
Anthony,
Yeah,
what's new in Anthony Town?
in Anthony Town. I'm planning a trip to Scotland currently, so if you've got suggestions about cool things to do in Scotland, let me know. Uh, I'm gonna spend a lot of time in the Highlands looking for fairies. But you know what's funny is that when you like look at all the, I mean, Scotland, especially the Highlands, are beautiful, and you can like go all the beautiful pictures. Like, wow, I want to travel there. But you know, Canada kind of looks really similar to it. Like, it is
It is
beautiful,
true.
but you're like, we kind of got that at home, to be honest.
Well, it's the same mountain range is what's crazy. Like the same geography lesson, folks. There's a bed of rock that extends all the way through Ontario and out through, wildly enough, northern UK. Uh, Here we call it the Canadian Shield. I imagine they don't call it that there. It is billions of years old and was raked free, unveiled by the retreating of the ice 10,000 years ago. So in many of Canada's national and provincial parks, you can see these formations of stone, very old stone, and that is the Canadian Shield, and it's the same formation of Scotland because it's so old. It was before the drifting apart.
That is pretty cool. Just the
I
same way
think
that
it's
like
neat.
Africa and South America fit into each other, and they have sort of continuous geological zones across them.
Yeah,
So very
exactly.
cool.
Now, on the topic of Scotland, I need to shop this question around.
Alrighty, alrighty.
How do you feel about the idea of vegan haggis? Is it missing the whole point?
I mean, okay, I'll be honest. I don't know enough about haggis to know what the essence of it is, but I mean, my uncultured knowledge of haggis says that like the important part is that it's in a stomach. Is that right? Sheep's stomach, goat stomach.
Yeah, so it's cooked and cased in a stomach. Yeah.
Yeah. So that part seems important.
I mean,
to
it
me.
was like now it's usually
It's
an
not?
artificial casing.
Really.
Yeah.
Oh, that's.
Would you call it awful?
But what's the inside of this dish?
So it's sort of organ meats, heart, liver, also lungs,
Okay.
onion, oatmeal,
Oatmeal.
fat, yeah, spices and salt, and then like vegetable stock.
Okay. So now the question is, what do you replace those things with in the vegan version? I'm not actually so worried about the casing. We have vegan sausages. We can figure that shit out.
Fair enough.
But what do you fill it with that gives it somewhat the sense of haggis?
I'm not sure what they filled it with. I had it more than once in Scotland because
More
it
than
was on.
once.
Well, it was on a bunch of menus, and it was like on when in Scotland.
What? Vegan haggis. What's it got? Have I clicked on this before? This link is purple. I don't know what I'm up to, guys, but I've already clicked on vegan haggis before. Huh.
That is actually so funny.
All right, so this recipe is like we've got oats and lentils and some spices, and that's kind of it. Okay, mushrooms maybe.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, a lot of it's oatmeal, honestly. So
That's really funny.
I would say, so you asked earlier what artificial haggis casing is made of, and I didn't actually know the answer. I looked it up. It's cellulose, which makes sense.
Yeah.
That's, it's got that texture.
Yeah.
Now I'm just looking at pictures of haggis. Welcome to the haggis stream, folks. I have a funny story from a friend. He went to Scotland, and there were a bunch of he loved haggis. And so while he was there, he was like, yeah, fuck it. Let's just buy like 4 cans of haggis and bring it home. I forget if it was 4 or 8 cans of haggis. You can buy cans of haggis. Yeah.
Okay.
Look, you got a lot to learn about Scotland,
I
sonny.
really do. I really do.
I notice how I neatly avoided doing a Scottish accent. I didn't feel up to the task. So he buys these cans of haggis and he's going to bring them back home to Canada. And at the airport in Scotland, he goes through and the guy at security is like, nice. Right? That's all it takes.
Yeah.
But he's got a layover in France first. And so he gets to France and they're like, what is this? And it was apparently like an hours long process just trying to get through that security. And then they get home and going through Canadian security, it also takes forever to get through with their cans of haggis. And my poor friends are just haggard. It's like, oh my God, I want to go home. I brought this haggis. And it's not like you can't buy cans of haggis in Canada. You absolutely can. You just need to go to one of the UK stores.
Huh.
Yeah.
And some sort of import control on meat or something. You think that's the problem?
I think
just confusion.
As soon as you're dealing with importing biomass, you have to deal with stuff. I know that when I've brought tea places, sometimes it's a pain in the butt. Usually less so. But yeah,
I would hope less so. I like the idea that the French are just like, well, this is a culinary travesty. We cannot let you take this either into our country or any other country. We're gonna have to take that from you. I imagine that's what the French had the problem the French had with it.
Sonic asks, have you guys been in Headless Valley? I so deeply don't know if that's a Dark Souls location or a real world location.
Yeah, is that in Scotland or in
okay. It's a former name for park in Canada in the Northwest Territories. I've actually never been to the Northwest Territories. It is a good freaking hike out from here, I'll tell you that. It's a gorgeous place.
Oh, cool.
So it's the Nahanni National Park Reserve, which I'd heard of, but yeah, definitely people call it Headless Valley sometimes.
The canyon looks so cool.
Yeah, that's pretty. Everybody just feel free if you wanna pass the time while Amanda's, I don't know, eating, doing laundry, hard to say. Gosh, it's pretty. It's pretty.
I have an update on did I click a link about vegan haggis already? It seems like when I switch over to incognito mode on this browser, that all the links are just purple. So so I take it back.
Well, I was sometimes you got dreams and they don't come true.
I was like, I've clicked on the Reddit thread of Legends of the Nahanni Valley. No, I have not. That just everything is purple.
This pause is very convenient, actually, because it is giving me an opportunity to disavow myself of the unbelievably ridiculous notion of perhaps finishing at 9. Why would I want to finish at 9? There happens to be a live stream of sock puppets going on today.
Oh, that's exciting. Okay.
So if you get bored of us, feel free to pop over to Moonshot at 9 where it was actually, this was very sweet. It was a stretch goal for their charity fundraiser. It was
Cool.
the first stretch goal. They were like, hey, if we hit this, we're playing sock puppets. And I was like, yeah, boy.
Amazing.
That's probably what I said.
That's probably exactly what you said. That's so cool. Well, yeah, if you get tired of Kurt playing games and prefer Kurt to make games and other people to play them, then you can move on over there. And
Otherwise, feel free to check it out in the VOD after the fact. Yeah, that's all there is for that, I suppose.
yeah, sweet. And we will raid over there after we are done here.
If they're online, yes, we will.
Yeah.
But they already made their puppets. I saw one of those puppets. It's a pretty good looking puppet.
Yeah? What do they use to make them? Are we talking sock puppets? Are we talking paper bags?
Gosh, I would say higher quality than either of those things.
Okay.
I
Full
guess I will
Muppets?
try to
What are we talking about here?
try to describe this puppet.
What's the channel name?
Moonshot. Moonshot Network. Moonshot.mov, I think, is the URL. So the puppet I'm looking at is clearly made of fabric. It has like a face.
Okay.
There's eyes made of metal. Another little metal thing for the mouth. There's a hood, like a cloak hood, and a little couple wisps of hair that come out of it.
Okay.
I'm seeing a clasp here for the cloak. I'm just like it's a pretty good looking puppet, guys. It's a pretty good looking puppet. I peeked. I thought about not peeking. I was told, yeah, shout out to Lady Tabletop on my Discord server for being a cool cat, always sharing cool stuff. And I was told, Kurt, don't look if you want to be surprised by my puppet for tomorrow's stream. And of course, I was very good until someone else on the Discord server said, Kurt is really missing out not clicking that spoilered image. And she was right. I was missing out.
Oh, do we have
Whoa.
an Amanda back? Oh my
Whoa.
gosh. Oh my gosh.
My word.
We've gotten 2 rounds of Kurt and Anthony wait for Amanda. It's a special episode. Welcome back, Amanda.
Thank you. Thank you so much for letting me do that quickly.
Sure.
Yeah. Food is like pretty good for like being a human.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
half a protein shake, not enough, in my opinion.
Not
Yeah, I
really
mean,
food.
My
No,
protein shake is done, so I did have one full protein shake today. But definitely not
Whoa.
enough food.
Okay, well, it's still not enough food. I'll remind you that it's 8:11 p.m. So, you know.
Yeah. Well, the ribs are in the oven, so.
Whoa! You're making ribs.
Uh-huh.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Okay. And you were going to
Duck
be...
left me with ribs and said, make these ribs. And I said, okay.
Okay. You're going to have so much protein. You're going to be so swole by the end of this
I'm gonna
stream.
be jacked. Yeah. Protein shake and ribs. I need to, like, I don't know, lift the world after this or something. I need to
You'll be
lift.
so buff and so constipated.
So swole.
Are you a 23-year-old gym bro? Because you are eating like one right now. Yes, okay.
Yes, I
All right.
am.
Good.
Worst pickup line I've ever heard.
Oh my goodness.
Welcome back. We've
Thank you.
talked about nothing important, mostly about vegan haggis. And we should jump into our game.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So Kurt, I understand what my role is. Is the game like, draw a card, now you're doing a feature scene, or this scene should have something to do with blah, or is it just like, Anthony?
Nah,
Let's just start a
I
scene.
think the general guidance, if you want anything to shape it, is often scenes will begin and end with the wanderer like arriving at a location and departing it.
Yeah.
So if you don't have any other idea what it should look like, that.
Okay. Cool.
I will say Amanda will be the wanderer in this first scene, and I will be the chorus.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent.
Do we want one more time to sort of remind everyone what we've set up?
Yeah, sure. Let's go through it again. What our setting is: area, locations, wanderer. Amanda?
1 second. I just have
Yeah.
to wash my hands. I thought I washed them,
But
but
they're
not
covered
thoroughly
in
enough wash.
ribs.
Yeah, the sauce, it got under my nails. I thought I cleaned enough, but just give me 2 seconds.
Go wash those
I'll
hands. Wash those hands. You can't be tippity
covered
tapping
in
on the
barbecue
keyboard.
sauce. Ew.
It's a
I
great.
want it in my mouth, not on my hands.
Otto mentions Littlest Hobo. Shout out to Littlest Hobo.
Sobo, what?
Littlest Hobo, arrives in a location, resolves some conflict, and leaves.
Oh, I see. Okay.
There's a voice. Keeps on calling me.
Have we made that
Down the
TTRPG yet?
road. Yeah, I did. It's called Big Dog, Big Volcano.
No, it's not. I played that game.
It's as close as I got. I can only make so many Lassie-coded games, Anthony.
Yes, true. You can't design that one. I'll have to take it for the team.
You will. Yeah.
I love the absolute contrast of you and me sitting here being like, let's talk about vegan haggis. Well, Amanda makes ribs. Just wields large chunks of uncooked meat. It's the kind of diversity that you look for in a show like this, right? Like you want a diverse cast, and we bring that diversity. I like when Kurt is typing something to say and doesn't say anything when I say stuff.
Yeah. It's when I have something to say to someone else, not you people.
Right. Yeah. He's got special private conversations, mostly with you, I think, is the answer. I really like, Kurt, your new pinning comments thing. Good.
Oh, it's just fun. It's when you want a little shout out for somebody, but
a good comment out there.
Just like, hey, that's pretty good. It's also nice because you can do it while you're not.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, folks. We're in character sometimes. Right now we're not, but we sometimes are.
Oh, I thought you meant this was character, and I was like, well, I mean, a little bit, but...
Yeah. Here's the thing, folks. I'm not like this. You don't know. You don't know me. You don't know me at all.
Kurt's not vegan in real life. Just a character.
Yeah, I'm only vegan on stream.
Yeah.
This ginger tea, beef broth.
It's all bone broth.
All the way down.
All of his mysterious little drinks.
Yeah. Well, what's that foaming one? Blah, I didn't skim off the fat.
And welcome back, Amanda, again. Oh, and he's pinning stuff. He's got it.
Shh. Can you just see that right away? I wish the default pin wasn't 20 minutes. That's so long.
I've got the whole behind the scenes. We can't hear you, Amanda. I've got the whole behind the scenes all the panels open. I can see everything, Kurt.
Can you adjust it to be shorter, or is it only 20 minutes?
You can adjust it. I just wish the default was different.
I don't
I'm
know.
just
Maybe you
being
can
lazy.
adjust the default in the back end.
Holy
possible.
shit.
Probably true.
Probably
Probably true. All right.
Okay, let's each grab a piece and redescribe what we have established. Yes. I can start with the setting.
Yeah.
Okay. Our setting is a place covered in a ruined civilization, the ruins of civilization. There are two ruins. One much larger than it should be. Absolutely massive ruins for perhaps a species many times larger than we are. And built on top of that, another civilization has also fallen. Dark moss. Well, it is dark. There is moss everywhere. Pillars aplenty. And here and there, perhaps as light reflects through old stained glass, or perhaps as it gets shimmered across the sky, rainbows, unsettling, colors that twist the soul. We have an area that we are in. Someone wants to tell us about the area?
The area is called the Hanging Gardens.
And
what are some places in it?
Well, hanging can of course mean whatever we want it to. So keep in mind it could be any kind of hanging. And within that area, there are a few different locations, including the rolling fields of locks, which could be locks of any variety. It could be hair. Could it be canals? Could it be things that are under lock and key? There are also the baths, which are Roman-style baths with hot springs and cool pools.
Pools? Yeah.
For a second, I thought it said cool fools, and I
Cool
was like,
fools.
cool fools. So I feel like there could be many things lurking there in the depths. There's also the City of Glass, which is a complex of greenhouses. I assume formerly in use, but who knows what we could find growing there.
That's a great point.
Mm-hmm.
In this place has arrived the wanderer known as Thorn. She wears a cape with barbs that stick out from it, embroidered flowers and hedgerows on her tunic beneath. She wears a flower crown of thorns. Far across a great body of water, on the clearest day, you can see distant white cliffs and fine buildings built into them of her home. Strapped to her chest is a trinket, an hourglass that so slowly moves material from top to bottom, and she is quick. She's fast like lightning when she wishes to be, but also deliberate, and will wait to act until having decided just the right thing to do. And so, we will begin our first scene with the world deciding on a piece of lore, which doesn't need to be spoken aloud, and deciding on a type of scene, which will be told. That can change, by the way, if you feel like, oh, maybe I don't want this kind of scene partway through. Like, maybe that's not the vibe, you can change it. But yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
Right. Everybody ready?
So wait, we have a piece of lore, but we don't say it?
Anthony will get us there. The whole
Okay.
point of Anthony's role right here is to like bring you as the wanderer to the lore, to show
Right.
the lore.
Oh, okay. So we will speak it in describing
Sorry, it will be eventually spoken.
Okay. All right. I was just a bit confused. And you're like, but we won't say the lore. We'll just imagine the lore. And then I was like, but then how will we know what it is?
What are you talking about?
Yeah. Okay, cool.
All right.
Tully. I hope they grow in weed. Yeah, me too, Tully.
We'll see. Okay, here goes, guys. Scene 1. I think it's a future scene. Wanderer stands on cold gray. Twilight cuts through gray swirling clouds. Sky that is much too overhead. Around you, massive pillars on this rocky outcropping carved themselves of gray-black rock, shooting high into the sky. They are scaffolding for metallic bars, rusted bolts pressed into rock, each of those bolts 20 feet long, 8 feet across, stains of rust draining down the road. And between these massive metal bars that ascend for hundreds and hundreds of meters above you, remnants of glass, some colored, some not. Hanging from the scaffolding of stone and metal, there are gardens. Chains descending, floating platforms on which you can just glimpse here and there edges of green growth, strange colored flowers. Wanderer looks up. Kurt, what kind of details do they see on these floating garden platforms?
The garden platforms are each one an ecosystem in and of itself. We see bursts of orange and violet and red peonies spilling off the edge of one. In another, uh, cacti rise from the ground, stark and proud. In another, almost nothing can be seen on the surface, but the roots grow far, far down, almost touching the ground below.
Here where you stand, Wanderer, there is a massive basin in front of you. Once made of metal, but now the size of a lake, spreading out before you. And draining down into this large pool and this series of metal baths, there's water coming from the platforms above. Here's where all the water drains to. And as it falls off the platforms above, you can see the water tinged in certain colors. Here, a light mauve. There, a sickly yellow. You can see one of the platforms as kind of one of the chains is broken, and the platform has half fallen, so that one edge of it, one corner of it, dips into the water. That looks like a ramp upwards, up into these gardens, a way into this massive complex. But you're going to have to make it across this massive pool where all the water drains.
Okay. I'm playing the Wanderer, right?
You sure are.
Sweet. Okay, so I think Thorn will take a few steps into the water. Is it just you like step into it? Is it deep?
It's quite deep. Looks very deep.
Okay, it looks really deep. Okay, then perhaps Thorn dips a foot in to sort of see how deep it is. I'm feeling that it's quite deep. Removes their foot. Thorn looks across the basin, narrowing their eyes. They sort of take a few steps backwards and then stealing their gaze across at the platform that is in the water. Thorn crouches down and she prepares herself, and she takes probably about 20 sort of steps in rapid succession, running to the edge of the basin and launching herself off the edge, and clears it, dropping down onto the platform. And she begins her ascent, climbing upward.
I'm
Looking
gonna
up.
take my world powers just for a spin here.
Sure.
Obviously, very powerful, but this is a broad gap, and this is a difficult thing to do. In making this leap, it can be done, but it has a cost. One of the possessions that the Wanderer holds on them, something that they hold dear, might be loosed, let go, as they make their crowning ascent over the water.
Anthony, you will present one such price, and as the chorus, I will present the alternative.
Great.
Okay, cool.
Can I leave it open-ended? Does it make sense if I'm like, something you care about is lost, but you can decide what? Or should I be more specific, do you think?
I think pick it.
Okay. Okay. We will say there is a fine silver bracelet on Thorn's left wrist. Itself seemingly carefully carved to match the thorn crown that she wears. Silver thorns around her wrist, and just like engraved with a friend's name on it. It will fall loose in this jump, perhaps. Or
while arcing over this surface, water so still bounding over it in this great leap, you see this dark rainbowed reflection of yourself, and it unnerves you.
I'll go with the reflection that unnerves me.
Okay.
the wanderer strikes the ground on the corner of this slanted, fallen platform. Here at the edge, the water has soaked in and there is just gravel and rock. But looking up, a plain. Here, grasses, small black flowers are crowning. And far on the other side of the platform, you can see a large tree, gnarled and half climbing up one of the chains that supports this platform. And beyond it, more platforms and a pathway into the rest of the gardens. What does Thorn do?
So I think as Thorn makes the leap, she falls to her knees after seeing the reflection. She just kind of crumples for a moment and softly weeps. But she collects herself after a moment's holding tightly to her hourglass and forces herself to step upward.
And as she steps, making her way up this slope, unseen by her, she leaves a path of desolation. Each place where her foot falls, the vegetation curdles and turns black and turns to sludge. And the scene ends there.
Cool.
Okay, cool.
So we have many details that arrived out of that scene, but only one will ever matter in terms of, only one will be recorded, and hence at the end of the game will be considered when determining our final situation. Footsteps of Desolation is what Anthony is calling it.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Also, may I venture to suggest that that was perhaps a danger scene after all?
Sure.
Yeah. Felt dangerous.
Cool.
Big jump. Dangerous.
Big jump.
Big jump. Because the danger scenes in part one aren't that dangerous. They're
Right.
that dangerous. And we don't need a price in other scene types, as I understand it.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, that's fair. But it was cool.
Sweet.
It was very cool.
So now we have a tiny little process. I would recommend doing this on your little personal page in the spreadsheet, your little tab. There are 4 questions that we are all answering, and just make the most basic, obvious guess you can based on what limited things we know. Do not share it with the class. At the end of the game, one of our sets of things will be true. We're going to change it every scene. We're going to revisit it every scene, rather, after every scene.
Wait.
Okay,
Sorry, what do I do?
We have to answer one of these questions?
All 4 of the questions you will privately answer
Right.
after every scene.
After every
All of
scene.
them.
Yep. Based on the lore. And that's, we're just going to quietly revisit it for just a moment.
Okay. You
don't need to type like a huge thing out, to be clear, just like a word or two to remind you of what you think.
We all have the same questions, I
so
assume.
After each scene, we have to answer these questions again? Do we like copy and paste them? Or we just revise them?
Yeah. Yeah, you can just edit your answer if you even need to.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. These are both what will determine, one of us will eventually determine what the end answers are, like which ones are true. One of us will have the true answers, and these will also shape perhaps what we choose to introduce as the world.
Okay. The questions for people watching are, what was the area at its height? So what was this place, before the fall? How did the area fall from that? Sorry. How did the area fall from its height to this? What is the nature of the adversary? Which I believe refers to perhaps our final, the final thing that we will face at the end of this adventure. And how is the adversary linked to the fall of the area? That is the questions that we are answering here.
Oh, this is so cool. And I love that it's all secret. Okay,
Yeah,
so
no
I did
looking.
mine. I just have to take my ribs out. So while you guys are answering.
Very
Please do,
biblical.
yeah. Very biblical. A little bit of a subversion, though, right?
Yeah, it's Adam and Eve, not Amanda and Eve.
I mean, Adam, like a man.
A
It's
man.
right there.
A man.
A
Duh.
man. Duh.
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 Did you already answer your questions, Kurt?
Yeah.
Nice. Do you want to monologue for a second while I finish?
Yeah.
That would be fun, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, very fun.
Oh, wait.
Oh,
I guess we're already back with ribs. I don't see any ribs.
What are
Were the
these-
ribs alive, folks? Guess in the chat privately. And then at the end, you can decide
We
if you
will
were
all,
right.
every time Amanda mentions ribs, write down whether we think the ribs are real or not, and then at the end we'll find out.
You guys don't think the ribs are real?
No, no evidence of them yet.
Well, I just took them out, so they're cooling. And then once they're done, I'm gonna eat them.
Likely
And then I have a
story.
second rack that I asked Duck, do I have to make the other rack too? Because they
Do
were
I have to?
because they were in the fridge, and I'm like, I don't know, because they thawed, and I'm like, I should probably make them.
Mm-hmm.
And he said yes, so I said I'm gonna do that one after stream because it's messy.
Okay. So we have our first scene. For the next scene, and these can be as short or long as we want them to, I guess I'll say, for obvious sake. For the next scene, we are going to have Amanda be the world.
Okay.
And that means that I will be the wanderer. Anthony will be the chorus.
So
what location was that scene in, by the way?
The
Anthony?
baths.
Great. Whoops, almost just looked at your tabs.
Don't
Bad,
do
bad
that.
boy. I
Don't
didn't
look.
do it. I almost did it, but I didn't do it. Trust. We have it. What are you pondering over there? Oh,
Okay.
right, you're the world.
I'm just
You're
wondering like
pondering the
what
whole thing.
kind of scene I want to do. I
Right.
think I'm gonna do an interaction scene.
Cool.
So
So for a character, the only other thing that I'll reiterate is they're going to be cryptic and mysterious. Like they're so into their own thing that they might have strange motivations that don't make sense to us. They might just be really focused on their one thing, waiting for something, looking for something. I'm just throwing things out there. I think in the first part, what does it say? Cryptic, evasive, eccentric characters who are not hostile. Their basic purpose can usually be discovered.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
So I think as you finish your ascent, things seem to open up into a place where there are these rolling fields of flowers. The flowers seem larger than the ones you may have observed down below. Almost as though something is forcing them to grow in a twisted way. And when you look down at them, there is a compulsion that you feel to continue staring at them.
Thorn closes her eyes, thinks, looks, but
As you
not.
look,
But wait, not with her eyes. She
Oh.
looks in a way that you can see is guided by the direction of her face, and she finds a scent and moves towards it, eyes still closed, bends down to smell the flower.
and after you smell the flower, do you stay there or do you get up?
I think she stays crouched there for some time.
Okay. You hear a humming. And you hear it clicking.
Slowly, she
Metallic
opens her
clicking.
eyes.
Okay. When you open your eyes, you see in the distance a figure. They seem to be humming quite loudly for how far away they are. They're wearing a robe that is a deep blood red. And their face is covered. All you can make out is the little pinpricks of their eyes, which seem to glow in the cloudy darkness around you.
Thorn stands for some time, just looking at this figure and listening to the song, and then stands. And the way that Thorn stands, all of the fabric of the cloak is perfectly straight, has fallen in just the direction, unfettered by wind. Thorn faces this figure and says simply, "What do you seek?"
Why, to open everything up, says the figure. She seems to be a woman, but it's a bit hard to tell. Slight, short, and yet there's something very intimidating about her. Sort of
Thorn,
sharpness to her movements.
Thorn's eyes move slowly across the landscape, stopping, pausing, examining, and continuing. And then Thorn faces once again this figure, and she says, "Opening what?"
The locks? The locks. Oh, my child, do you not know? Would you like to see? I could open your eyes.
I
And
think
she offers a hand to you. And in her hand is a key. The key looks like it's made out of bone. But what kind of bone? Who's to say?
Locke inhales and exhales, and then grabs the key, tucks it into a pocket of the cloak.
As you grab the key and tuck it into your cloak, you start to notice that your body is seizing up. You can't quite move.
Thorn doesn't move, stands there. It looks much the same as before from the outside.
Are you feeling all right?
Thorn asks, "Where are the locks?"
Why, you're standing on them.
Thorn looks down.
You see the flowers. And the flowers, once again, seem to catch you in a trance. And yet, Now you feel compelled to look away from them, even as they seem to be catching your eye.
Thorn looks down at her right foot and then ever so slowly raises it and places it in front of her left foot. Then she raises her left foot and does the same. Each step is a little quicker than the last.
Ah, I see that you are finding your footing now. Perhaps you could be of service to me. I'll tell you what. I'll let you keep the key, and I'll let you continue on your way. But you have to promise me something.
Thorn does not speak.
A tricky one, are you? Well, if you'd like to pass uninhibited, I would recommend that you concede. But I'll tell you what you need do first, and let you make perhaps a more informed decision. When you see the crow flying, I need you to catch it.
Thorn says, I have heard your request. And then suddenly her footsteps are fleet, and she dashes through the field of flowers to the other side.
The woman, as you run into the distance, you hear resume her humming. And although you cannot see what she does if you look back, you hear that clicking resuming.
Okay, there we go. Okay, post-scene procedure.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna record the lore. Amanda, what's the lore from that scene?
Where do I write the lore? Where the lore
I have a little box for you in
Oh
scene.
yeah. Okay.
What's the lore? What's the lore?
There's a lot of things I could pick here, but I think the main thing would be crow that needs be caught.
Yes,
Sure.
Sure. This is a good piece of lore.
It's a good piece of lore. Okay. Now we must all leap to conclusions.
Let's leap to conclusions. Leap to
I love
conclusions
leaping
in
to
chat.
conclusions. Also, how do I incorporate the chorus in these scenes? I
You
didn't
may
use
at
the
any
chorus.
point, so Anthony could have spoken up to elaborate on a detail, but also you can ask direct questions, and the more specific they are, the better. Where are we?
Okay.
Not helpful. What kind of trophies are on the walls of the hunting lodge? Helpful.
Right.
It is okay that there was less chorus in that scene. It's
So it's like if I also, as the world, am kind of like, I'd like some more information on what's happening, but I don't want to have to make it.
Or you just want to play a little riff and then see what's played back to you.
Yeah, okay. That's cool. So chorus is basically like support for the world.
Yeah. Vice DM.
Cool.
Yeah. I like that. Vice DM is fun.
I have leapt to so many conclusions, man.
Right? Me too.
Leapt like crazy. I like so oftentimes when I'm playing games with you guys, my brain really wants to leap to conclusions, right? Like my brain is like, ooh, okay, and so then this fits with that, and then what's going on underneath the surface is this. And then I'm like, whoa. This is not just Anthony world. Who knows? That could be true or other things. Let's see what happens. So I actually purposely damp down the part of my brain that wants to like tie all the pieces together. But I like this, that I have license to fully do it, but with no outcome on the rest of you guys, right? Like you can't find out about my fully formed conclusions, which is nice.
right? Many, many moons ago, we played a game in which we also were all forming our own conclusions. And we probably played that too late at night, but I have fond memories of that as well.
What game?
Cobwebs.
Cobwebs.
We had a video store, and it was
Mm.
all very
Yeah. Yeah.
strange and
That's right.
psychedelic.
I remember that.
Okay.
So now Kurt will be the world, and I will be the wanderer, and Amanda is going to be the chorus.
I will quickly grab these ribs that are real.
Ah,
I'm
yes.
just gonna cut some off and bring them over so I can snack while I chorus.
Nice. What a pimpin' chorus. Got ribs.
Ribs.
All right. Be right back.
It's not just the chorus, it's the brorus.
Is that
Protein
bro and
shakes
chorus?
and ribs. Yeah, bro. Bro chorus.
There you go.
We got some poetry happening in chat. Otto says the field of fish was planted in a dried up ocean where sorrowful tears were the water. My goodness. Locke says
Otto gets some finger steps for that one.
yeah, seriously. Locke says, stand by the grey stone when the thrush knocks, and the setting sun with the last light of Durin's day will shine upon the keyhole. Is that a quote from Tolkien? Probably.
That 100%. There's no question, I would say.
It's got to be the door to the Mines of Moria. I like Florax.
So do I.
Sure would love to click on your tab over there, Kurt, and find out what your
I'd love to
conclusions
click on yours.
are. Just two friends who want to click each other's tabs. You know how it is.
That's, there's got to be a joke in there, and I'm just not getting there.
Too
much leaping to conclusions.
It's The Hobbit, which that's a quote from. That does make sense, I think. I forgot about secret doors in The Hobbit, but that is true. That is true. I just rewatched The Fellowship of the Ring for the first time in many, many years, and I was like one of those kids. I read, the books when I was really young, and when the movies came out, I was obsessed. But I haven't seen The Fellowship in a long time, especially because as a child I thought The Fellowship was boring. But I watched The Fellowship with my friends in the movie theater this past week, and I cried several times watching The Fellowship of the Ring, which either says something about how great the movie is and how much I missed as a child, or how soft and squishy I've become with age.
Gotta say some of that.
Liquid ribs?
Exactly what? Liquid ribs.
Liquid ribs.
Blitz it up, chug it down.
What is ribs except a protein shake that could be,
What is ribs? Tell us in the comments.
How are they? Amanda, review?
Perfect.
Well, there you go.
Wow.
Well, you are the chorus, so really this is the perfect time to eat ribs.
It is.
Okay.
But hit me up when you need me. I'm here. I'm ready. Eating ribs.
Here, ready, eating ribs.
Staying refreshed.
All the things you could want. Okay. So, I'm nominally going to set out a feature scene here.
Cool.
Crossing this field of flowers and leaping forward, the wanderer finds themselves... Well, how strange. The path is turned all around, and she is at the baths once more. Out before you, almost a mirror vista of what you saw before. These platforms with great gardens, but also a hot spring in the center. Cool cisterns all around in which one could rest. Some looking quite recent, with statues that overlook grand shapes. Some just looking crumbled and old. Far away from this angle, you can see a place where waterfall deposits down below, and that flying up of particles, but it's sand, not water.
I slowly turn my head to face it, taking in the dry waterfall. And I blink slowly, as I do whenever I see something of interest. Then the wanderer begins to make their way around the pools towards one of the cisterns. Particular crumbled statue, headless.
The statue is made of limestone, and parts of it have so quickly eroded away as the hot spring has lapped against it on one side, and on the other side, the cool cistern waters flow by. You can see this figure has also a sort of prism around their chest.
Like hanging on a chain, or like embedded into their ribs themselves?
It's worn, but it looks like a prism on a chain.
Mm.
It is part of the statue.
Okay. I kneel at the water's edge and reach my hand into the cool pool and down to the limestone head where it rests at the bottom of the pool. I stroke the cheeks of the statue's head and stare into its eyes.
And with that gaze into its eyes, it falls to sand. The whole limestone melts away into little grains of sand. And I'm actually just going to call it there. I think that's all we see. I want to say flowing sands is going to be the lore.
Interesting.
And now, of course, we must leap to conclusions.
Let's leap to conclusions. Is there any easy way that we can we mute? Can we deafen ourselves on Zoom easily so that we can't hear what other people are saying?
I mean, the trick is that then do we see enough? Like, do we just talk over each other is the thing?
Well, the reason I'm asking is because it would be cool to just
reveal,
just without revealing to each other, but revealing it to the people watching.
Let's do that at the end of part 1.
Okay.
Hey?
Sure.
Ooh.
Sounds
Seems
good.
kind of fun.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay.
Also, those ribs were fantastic. Oh my god. Perfect.
Just perfect.
I'm just so satisfied. They were like, yeah, they were just perfectly done.
Brush that dirt off your shoulders. Okay. I'm happy with my conclusion situation. I will update our location. All right, the baths has statues of limestone. Atomic Sorcery proposes a new game phase has been created, the Confessional.
The confessional.
Talking heads to be shown interspersed throughout the reality television episode. I mean, if we actually edited shorts, that is what we would do.
True. Whew, okay. So that makes me the world once more. And Amanda the Wanderer.
Okay.
We need 2 danger scenes before part 1 can conclude. Which makes me think it is time for a danger scene. And a little side note for those watching at home. Did Kurt make a special thing so that when you select danger twice in part 1, it like highlights part 1 to show you that it's ready to be completed? Yes, he did. Yes, you did. Okay, we need a little bit of lore for this scene. Okay. Scaling the dry waterfall is a sandy affair. The creases and crevices of the wanderer's clothing are now full of sand. Silt-like. Here, even in the smile lines and wrinkles of their face, this sand is baked in. But now they stand on a higher platform. One of these hanging platforms of the garden hangs hundreds of feet above the rocky outcropping below. And now you see something different. Something you've only been told about. A shimmering glass house stands in the center of this platform, rising 40, 50 feet into the air. Pinnacles, towers, turrets, and here most of the glass intact. Ethereal shimmer to the glass. A hint of rainbow on every pane. And the last dying glimpses of the sun's light still bring you the story of this gorgeous rainbow glass before it dims. From the inside of the glass house, the wanderer hears crunching, grinding, and here and there the twinkle of broken glass.
Is there anything around me?
You are standing just in a crowd of small brown sparrows, each one pecking at the sand that falls off your body.
Can I grab a handful of sand
You
from
can.
inside my tunic?
Oh, from inside your tunic. Yeah, sure. You like sort of bend down a little bit to grab it out of one of the creases of your cloak, and as you do, as you make this movement, the birds all react. They say one word each, all at once. Kurt, what did they say?
As in they all like
I think
every bird is one word.
Yeah.
In unison?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Perhaps repeated, echoed.
Timeless.
Timeless.
Some of the sparrows have a pure voice of a sparrow. Some sound hoarse. Older.
You have a handful of silt. It's hard to grasp. It wants to fall. And fall it does, the cracks in your fingers. You won't hold it forever.
I think with one swift movement, Thorn throws the sand down at the glass.
Clarify for me, like towards the glass house or...
Towards the broken glass that you said was on the ground
Okay, sure, yeah.
near the glass house. Because it's like a glass house with broken glass inside and around it, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So sort of the glass that's sort of fallen around the outside. Of course, as the silt touches the glass, both crumble away and drain off the platform.
Okay. I'm going to take a few steps forward, trying to carefully move around the broken glass.
Are you moving towards the glass house?
I'm trying to move past the glass house.
Around it. I see.
Yeah, around it.
You walk quietly, great control over your body as you step, and you go almost without noise, except the sparrows follow you and they say, Kurt, what do they say?
Is it a new word?
I think so. Perhaps a couple.
One says lost, and one says thief. Lost, thief, thief, lost, 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 thief.
And as you're about to pass the house, all the birds say thief all at once. A little too loud. And the grinding from inside the glass house stops.
Thorn reaches into her tunic one more time to grab as much sand as she can in one hand, crouching down low.
As she prepares, one side of the glass house, a beautiful undisturbed pane, smashes into a million tiny pieces as a creature. A moving entity rolls out of the house. It is made of crystal, of glass, bound together. A hulking creature rising 16 feet up. It has eyes of two beautiful prisms that reflect all the light they possibly can and are too bright to look at, even in the dwindling light. It stares you down. Thief, the birds say.
With one hand, Thorn shields her eyes. With the other, she grabs the sand that she has in her fist, and without any hesitation, hurls it at the creature.
Just as she does, it comes barreling forward towards her. Are you trying to escape?
No, I'm not trying to escape. I'm trying to fight it.
Okay.
I don't know if you can ask me that question.
Yeah, maybe I can't. That's a good point.
Fair, because intent we can't know.
That's true.
Right?
That's a good point. It's a very good point. I think that this handful of silt goes straight through the creature's chest. As the silt meets the glass, it turns to liquid sand, and both melt off and start to drain away on the landscape. And the thing half crashes over, disconnected from its legs. Its upper body reaches out and wraps one glass fist around your ankle and begins to squeeze, the cutting glass piercing into your flesh.
Okay, I was gonna do something else.
Sorry.
That's okay. Thorn takes the hourglass that she carries with her and flips it. As she does, something happens, but I don't know what I'm allowed to say because I don't know how much power I have as the character.
Okay.
Well, I think you can describe what happens because it's Anthony's job to present you the cost of it having happened.
Right.
And indeed mine as well.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
yeah, so tell us what one hopes happens.
Okay. So as Thorn flips the hourglass, there is a rumbling around her that happens. And a bit of light creeps into the space. Moss starts to move towards the light, covering the area that we see that is beginning to be, the light is starting to kind of like pour in bit by bit. And the moss is growing quickly, coming towards Thorn. She reaches out for it, desperate with her movements, longing to touch the moss. And when she does, something magical happens. And she becomes one with the sand, sliding out of the grasp as though she was barely even there in a flash.
Your tide of moss may save you. But if you are to play with time like this, when you take back your form after becoming a wave of sand, you will not be the same. You have a choice. One cost you can take is you'll be much older than you are now.
Mm-hmm.
Decrepit. Body breaking. But another...
Can we not go full decrepit?
Okay.
Because technically the consequences are supposed to be
Light?
smaller in part 1.
Okay, you'll have aged. Lost a decade.
Great.
Okay.
Price 2. All the birds, all the sparrows around you flicker in and out and become crows. They fly away, but when you slumber this night, your dreams will be plagued by nightmares of crows, all cawing and retching, all repeating the same word.
So I can either be stalked by crows or lose a decade?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll lose a decade.
Cool.
You turn to sand and reform on the edge of the platform, far from the beast, scratching at the moss that covers it and holds it back. But you are different now. The lines next to your feet, next to your eyes, sorry, the lines next to your eyes, crow's feet, are deep now. And there is a weariness. I think that's
Cool.
the scene.
What's our lore?
Guys, what's the lore?
That's your job. That's your whole job. Well, it's not your whole job, is it?
Okay. This lore is the silt is flowing glass. It seems like the silt that we see is the glass falling apart.
Cool. Right, so it becomes Amanda's turn, but before then we must leap to conclusions. And I will say you have no obligation to include anything in your theories that's not in the lore.
The lore!
So should we be using the lore to guide the answers to our questions?
Uh,
You just want to add
it's
to it.
they feed in both ways. When we reach the end, your leaping to conclusions set of answers should reference the established lore, should acknowledge the established lore, should fit in with the established lore.
Right.
That's why
Okay.
we can shift it
Yeah.
every turn. There is one more scene in part 1, and Amanda gets to decide if it is going to be feature, interaction, or danger. We've had both of the necessary danger scenes, but we could have one more if we wanted.
I think I'm gonna make it a feature.
Cool. This is cool.
This is cool. There's a lot of lore, guys. trying to knit it together.
But it's not quite as much as it could be, because some things we don't need to pull in. I think flowing sands is a bad note. I'm not sure it captured anything. Things turned to sand, I guess. Might be flowing sand, whatever. Flowing sand.
But we know what it means, though. Flowing sand.
We'll keep it as flowing
we know
sand.
What it means. Yeah.
I don't really want to mess with it. I just realized, like, oh, is that even useful to people?
Yeah, I know what it means. You're
cool.
good. You're good.
Yeah. It's all good.
Whew.
Okay.
So
what happens next, Amanda?
Amanda is the world, and I am the wanderer.
Okay.
You are the chorus.
Cool.
All this glass to sand has David Bowie stuck in my head. Oh.
Hey.
Well. If we don't have some new friends today. Hello, dear comrades of Sun Punch Studios.
Thanks for visiting us. We're in the middle of a game of Bleak Spirit. A cool storytelling game kind of based on Dark Souls-like games, where we are telling a strange, unsettling story of a wanderer in a strange land.
Place of fated grandeur, and sand and moss and gardens. The whole place is the Hanging Gardens. We should also say, thanks for sending folks our way. Sun Punch, really appreciate it.
Yeah, seriously.
Lovely to see other folks dropping by.
What were you up
to?
Yeah, what are you coming from?
Why don't you let us know what you were just coming in from?
Also, if everyone would like to join us in showing some love to Sun Punch Studios by giving them a follow, I just gave them a little shout out in chat. Thanks for joining us, guys. Thanks for trusting us with your community. That means so much. Thank you for the raid. And also, Call Me, welcome in, and Sun Punch, welcome in. Hello in the chat.
I did think for a moment Amanda was telling us to call her, and I was like, we're already here, Amanda. We are, in fact, here.
We're already playing the game with you, Amanda. Oh my goodness. Welcome in, everybody. I just noticed, too, that this layout, we don't have our names on it.
Oh, that's unusual.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't.
Whoops. I'm as surprised as you are.
But we should say, my name's Anthony. Down there is Kurt. Kurt is our game dad for today. He knows how to play the game and is walking us through it. And then over there, I think I get that right. Yeah, over there is Amanda, who's eating ribs and telling cool stories.
I was. I ate some ribs. It's true. It happened.
Ribs are over. Stories only now.
Only stories now. We are about to tell one more scene, the last scene of Act 1 of our little story here. Amanda will be playing the world, as kind of your game master, and Kurt will be playing our wanderer dressed in a cloak of barbed wire with a crown of thorns on their head, who we've recently can perhaps vanquish enemies of sand with handfuls of silt.
Pretty cool. I am playing the world in this scene, so I will be controlling the world around us. And Kurt, are you the wanderer?
Sure am.
And Anthony will be playing the chorus. So Kurt will be playing Thorn, who is our titular protagonist. Well, actually, I don't know if they're titular. I guess maybe if the name of this game was Thorn, then that would be accurate. But you know, it is Dark Souls inspired, so maybe if this were a game, it would just be called Thorn. I kind of like that. Thorn and something something time, maybe. Um, and as the chorus, Anthony will be sort of assisting me in creating the scene and the world around us. So I guess I'll launch into this feature right now that we're about to talk about. So for this feature scene, I'm thinking I want it to take place in the baths. And this is almost a steamy area that you enter that seems to be connected to the baths. It's mists of steam, and everywhere around you, as the light is still sort of with you but is fading quickly, you see these little fragments of rainbow in the air. And the rainbow seems to almost reflect a version of you in broken colors. You can see the age on your face.
Thorn waves aside the water droplets in the air and takes stiff steps towards the warm water. Slowly sinks into it, placing both arms on either side of the hot spring.
The spring seems to rejuvenate you. There's a warmth that comes from within that you feel. And as you look out, as you look up, you can see the sky once more. No longer are there structures around you. The sky is a purplish hue, and you can make out stars in the night. And the stars seem to be blinking. Is it cloud? No, they're
Storm,
blinking at you.
whew. I think Thorn traces a line with a hand in a shape that looks practiced, in an arc that follows those of the stars, and then casts a glance at something that we can't see over the shoulder, over the edge of this hanging garden, across a body of water that lies below.
Okay, so we can't see that. That might be it, honestly.
Cool.
Nice.
Okay. What's our lore?
Sorry I didn't utilize the chorus again. I was trying to think of something else to say, but I was like, I think that was enough, honestly. I
You
think
hate
the
me.
lore
I get it.
is...
I get it. You hate me. You don't like when I say things on the stream, and you're trying to get me off it. And that's fine. I understand. Me too.
Get
actually.
out of here.
Get out of here. Stars that blink.
Stars that
Blinking
blink.
stars.
I don't even know what I just did with that, honestly.
I thought it was neat.
Thanks. It's making me question everything. Oh boy.
Well, we are all now going to do what we do at the end of every scene in Bleak Spirit, which is leap to conclusions. Each of us separately is answering the questions: what was this area at its height? How did it fall from that to this? What is the nature of the adversary? And how is the adversary linked to the fall of this area? We don't yet know exactly who our adversary is, but when we meet them, it will make perfect sense. Because all along we've been plotting how the adversary could manifest. And so, each of us having done this, we have concluded Act 1, but the story's not over. We have another act and then a finale. The second act is much shorter than the first. It will be between 1 and 3 scenes. One of the scenes must be a danger scene, and the other 2 can be a feature, interaction, or danger scene. At the end of a scene, the Wanderer player may decide if we're going to the finale. But we do need to see at least one danger scene first. So, I think I've talked enough that it is possible that both Anthony and Amanda have written down some kind of conclusion that they are leaping to.
I have written down conclusions.
We all decided, because we can, because it's fun, because we like you as a group of human beings, we're going to let you have a peek behind the curtain. Each of us will tell you what we think is happening. The other 2 will remove their headphones, and when the speaking person is done, they will raise both hands to indicate, I've finished.
Nice.
And then the other 2 will put their headphones back on. Once we've all described this, we'll move on to Act 2. Okay. Amanda, how you doing? You in a good place?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so. I think I have some answers, sort of.
The absolute unbelievable drive to listen to what you two. This is why VODs exist. I will go back in the future and listen to what you've said. But in the meantime,
I want to know.
Anthony, would you like to lead in telling chat what the answers to these questions are? Amanda, shall we remove our headphones?
Okay. All right, here we begin. Don't listen. So the questions are, first one, what was the area at its height? This area was the garden of a god hungry for grain and fed by their many gardeners, their followers, their children. How did it fall from that to this? The gardeners turned against him, the god. The descendants of the gardeners are now banned, and their footsteps, when they step foot in the garden, turn to ash. Some have been locked away as flowers in the garden. What is the nature of the adversary? The adversary is the spurned, starving crow god that has become a flock of scavenging birds hungry for grain. Their siblings are the stars on the other worlds, blinking, warning the crow's followers of danger. How is the adversary linked to the fall of the area? The gods starved in their own garden, and without their power, all that they created is crumbling to silt and sand. The world is returning to the bare rock it used to be. And the optional question is, who is the Wanderer, and what are they doing here? They are the children of the gardeners. Come back, revisiting. And that's all I've got. What?
Well, I assumed we would go digital clockwise, because that just seems...
No, you go.
Okay. Good. Okay, folks, sorry about that. I just don't know what order things need to happen in. At its height, this place was a bright place where rainbows were kept in prisms and gazed upon like beautiful trinkets, held lovingly and witnessed, kept public spaces, stolen from the sky, some say, but what does it matter? They were so beautiful. Afterwards, once the first society fell, this place became a colony of the White Cliff civilization that Thorn comes from. Here to gather sand for their hourglasses, always running out of time. How did it fall? A crow thief stole the rainbows in the night, which turned everyone to sand. Some say that should have been the end, But when the White Cliff civilization came here, they harnessed it, used that strange curse to turn themselves to sand and move through the world, time and moss and sand swirling through them and around them like so much magic for them to wield. But of course they too fell. Fools. How could they not have seen the decay? The adversary is the thief of all rainbows, who takes the form of a crow. When the rainbows were stolen, so too were the sun and stars, as all things from the sky must go. They still blink out so slowly. How is the adversary linked to the fall of the area? Well, after the rainbows were stolen, all those present, the first batch turned to sand. The second turned to flowers. They're still there today, gazing up at you, a strange feeling when they see you, locked under their curse. Our wanderer is here to gather sand, to bring it home, the finest sand. Time is kept there, much like rainbows here. She hasn't found the fine sand yet. That must be stolen from the crow himself. Amanda doesn't know the symbol.
Okay. Cool. And I got to eat a few more ribs, so that's always good. Okay. Now let me tell you my thoughts on this. I don't know what Anthony and Kurt were saying, but I don't even know if we're similar. Don't tell me if we're similar because I don't want to know. But here's what I got. What was the area at its height? So I think this was actually the heavens. It's changed a few times as to what I thought it was. I initially thought it was gardens of the gods, but now I think it's the heavens. And how did it fall from that to this? The belief in it faded over time, which caused it to basically decay. What is the nature of the adversary? It is the pain we all feel inside, which has destroyed everything. Let them see you smacking your ribs? Smacking my ribs? On my body? I don't know. So they think I'm talking longer. I don't have any more ribs left. I ate them all. All I have is bones. And then how is the adversary linked to the fall of the area? I think the adversary is linked to the fall of the area because it has removed the light from this world, which is what is causing it to crumble. The optional question is who's the wanderer and what are they doing here? And I actually think the wanderer is a vestige of the old world that still believed in this place and is a hero who has died. So now they're kind of stuck here. And that's what I think. That's what I got. I'm assuming these are all different. Very different.
Hello? Wait, why can't I? Oh,
Thanks, Atomic.
okay, there we go.
Oh, just because I'm muted like a fool.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
Okay, well.
who knows what that was?
I don't know.
Everyone but us is the answer. Everyone but us.
I just wonder how different everything that we said is, or how similar it might be. It'll be weird if it was very similar. But we don't know. Only chat knows the truth.
Yeah.
And thank you also for being cryptic and weird in your chats, because that's perfect. That's
really
like,
cool.
it makes us go, ooh, what is it? But then we don't know. And that's great.
I don't know.
Okay, part 2 will begin with me as the world.
Okay. And sorry, I did not listen to you very well when you were describing part 2. We need to have one danger scene. We can have up to 3 scenes, then we move on to the finale.
Yep. Although, as long as there's been a danger scene, the Wanderer may move on to the finale at the end of any scene. They can be like, okay, finale time.
Okay.
So as long as there's been the danger scene,
So if you're playing the Wanderer after the danger scene, you could just say,
You can
I
just
think we
say-
go to the finale.
we're going to the finale.
Okay.
Okay.
And the finale has 3 like specialized scenes that we won't bother talking about, but that's when the revelation of who the adversary is truly comes to pass.
Oh, okay.
Great. Okay. So the only other thing I'll say is that the tone like darkens a little, deepens a little in part 2.
Got it.
Danger scenes, powerful, aggressive, or uniquely unpleasant threats are here. The prices are more significant.
Okay.
In interaction scenes, other characters' schemes culminate. Maybe the Wanderer is receiving gifts or being attacked. If there's characters, then they might do more than they were before.
Things.
And in feature scenes, the Wanderer will find violence or trauma, gloomy locations full of dread, hostile, unpleasant places. At the end of any scene, the Wanderer can choose to initiate the final confrontation. And I already said that. So.
But you said it again, because that's good.
Oh,
you
wait.
know what? We don't listen
At
much.
the end of any scene?
Once the danger scene
Once
has
the danger has
happened.
happened. Okay.
And so I might as well lead with the danger scene just so
What?
that we don't
Kurt!
freaking know. We don't freaking know.
He's cheating.
That's not true.
Leading with the danger scene. Okay.
We may have multiple danger scenes.
We can,
We just,
right?
at any point after this scene or the next scene or the next scene, we can be like, all right, we're going. Final. Well, the Wanderer can, rather. Does that all make sense? Have I said
that
words?
makes sense.
Great.
I think so.
Okay, cool. Who's my Wanderer? Anthony is. Who's my Wanderer? You are.
I'm your little wanderer.
Okay. In this scene, I'm going to set it in, I think I'm going to set it in a new, do I need to set it in a new location? It's the City of Glass again, I think.
Yeah, City of Glass.
City of Glass.
The islands have shifted. Now the higher island is the City of Glass, has risen and risen. There is, I think, an apex of this place, and the City of Glass is now one step closer towards that apex. Cresting the hill of the City of Glass, we can see what was once the large central greenhouse, this beautiful ornate stained glass greenhouse. All the glass has shifted to now take the form of a statue. So it looks like a large prism of a bird filled with greenery within. It starts taking moves towards Thorn. When it caws, what does it sound like, Chorus?
It sounds like sharp glass sort of fracturing against each other. It sounds like what you imagine glass would be when it actually like all goes into each other, and there's like a sound of shattering, but also a grating noise. Like a
Yeah. It's crunching,
crunchy.
cracking.
I don't even know if you were able to hear that through Zoom, but you know.
I actually was. So
Okay.
yeah.
Fancy that.
Hey.
It actually moves very similarly to Thorn. Slowly at first, and then once it has its target, fleet on its feet, moving towards you. What does Thorn do?
Thorn in this moment does not move quickly, as she is known to do, but merely places out one hand, reaching out towards the creature. Crow, I was told to catch you, but I will offer mercy.
There's a laugh that sounds like the tinkling shards of glass landing upon the ground, and a voice from deep within, still with that breaking, crunching, retching sound, says, "I am not the crow." Ah. The laugh now is a rasping, like cracking. "I am not the crow."
A look of concern passes over Thorn's face. She reaches up and pulls the thorns tighter onto her head, piercing the skin.
A metal beam of this grand greenhouse that once made the brow of this crow's head constricts. Does the glass shatter, Chorus?
Yeah, I think the glass shatters. It's kind of a fracture that becomes a shattering. Like if you've ever seen glass that is more resilient when it starts to break, and you can kind of just see the fractures in it at first before it ever starts to fall apart. So you can see it rippling outward.
As almost an echo of Thorn's movement again, the crack is slow to spread, meticulous, almost thoughtful, and then all of a sudden bursts into 1,000 pieces. A rain of glass falls down towards you. What do you do?
With my incredible speed, here is my moment to move. Seeing that crack in the glass and others, I would like to enter the bird, find my way inside it.
What would you do once you are in there?
Okay, here is an imagining of what I want to happen. I dash inside the bird, placing my feet on the heavy moss that collects in its feet, and I would shout loudly, like a caw, "I know you are my blood!" And then raising my arms, I would try to control it, become its mind, become the bird.
Your price. Lacerations. Your whole body. There's just these rivers of cuts across your flesh from all this sharp glass. There's almost a sense that glass is suspended in the air here, and every flap, another rivulet of blood emerges. Or
I think you lose yourself and you become something entirely new.
Whoa. I will take the lacerations. And if I may, if I may, Kurt, I had this image in my mind of sort of as I bash through the glass and I'm like cut all across my body and begin to wave my arms, that the blood flows off of Thorn's arms and splatters against the glass that still makes up this creature. And very literally, my blood is now flowing through the veins of this creature, powering it. Our bodies merging.
okay.
Cool.
Our lore for the scene. I think one of the Wanderer's blood has taken the form of a crow. Seems like it can encapsulates what happened there.
Okay.
I would even say has been placed into the form of a crow.
Mm.
So Lot of words.
Mm-hmm.
Do I want to leave it more open for you? Blood turned to crow.
Good.
Cool.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah,
What
sure.
about just blood bond? Totally cool to reject my offer.
I'm considering. I like that you threw it out there. Yeah, we'll do it.
Blood bond.
Okay. That brings us to, so that's a danger scene. Anthony may now
Do we
either.
readjust our things again?
Yeah,
Yes.
we do.
This
If
is like
you feel it must be.
this is like that was a crazy scene. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
We are committing a streaming sin and just
We are all just typing quietly.
all sitting silently.
How does it fit? I'm honestly thinking so hard.
I can't even. I am like speechless.
You almost speeched there.
Oh.
Okay. I'm there.
We're good.
Yeah. It was only some minor tweaks.
Can you tell me about part 3? Is it part 3 like one scene, or do we have like a whole several more scenes if we go into the part 3? I'm trying to figure out how I make this decision about whether we see something else.
Right. I might as well walk us through it. Should I wait for a second until Amanda's not focused so intensely?
By the way, I just love, I think Otto and Atomic Sorcery were in chat just like sort of talking about seeing things differently now that they know how each of us sees the world, and seeing it as like 3 different mirages, all sort of overlapping on each other, and I just think, wow, this is cool. I don't think we meant to do this, but this is like way cooler streaming experience for a storytelling game, is to like have hidden information that only you guys know.
Yeah. Fascinating.
Like, this could be a genre, like you should explore this more often.
Amanda, how you doing over yonder?
I don't even know, man.
I feel like that lore might have been problematic to the canon.
I just am like, I don't know. I'm just trying to put into words what I'm thinking, but I'm like, I don't even know what I'm thinking right now.
But like, what am I thinking now?
Who am I? Okay, I'm ready though. I'm good.
All right, Kurt's gonna tell us a little bit about part 3.
Are we moving to part 3?
Well, no, Anthony's trying to decide if he wants to move to part 3.
Yeah.
Right. Is Anthony the Wanderer?
Anthony's
for this last
just
second,
finishing off the Wanderer.
Oh, right.
But then you'll be, so then you can decide.
If Anthony opts not to. Anyway, okay, so first there's the revelation. The adversary is revealed in their terrible glory. The role of the world is taken by whoever has a good idea for the nature of the adversary. We don't make pitches, just volunteer.
Okay.
priority goes to the most recent wanderer, which is why it's important if you choose to initiate.
I see.
Oh, I see. So it'll be like if Anthony chooses to initiate, then he'll have the first say on who the adversary could be.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they don't want to take the adversary ball, then it would pass to me and then you, or you and then
Yeah,
me?
yeah.
You and then me?
You and then me, because it's sort of
Okay.
clockwise from anyway.
It's clockwise. Okay, it's clockwise from there.
I believe. And so after the revelation, which is just like a reveal, really, I don't think I don't think we have to like.
Doesn't have to be big. It's just like a moment of like,
Right.
oh.
I mean, it'll be a big moment, but it doesn't have to be a long scene. Then there's the clash, where there's a fearsome fight to the death between the wanderer and the adversary. Roles stay the same as they were in the revelation.
Okay, so this will be maintained.
Yeah.
Okay.
It proceeds as any danger scene, except the first price just wounds the adversary. The second price defeats them.
Ooh.
Yeah. Finally, there will be the epilogue, in which the chorus takes on the world role, and the wanderer, if alive, can choose between replacing the adversary personally or with some other figure, implement.
So wait, when you say the first prize versus the second prize, do you mean the prices that you and I would offer as chorus and world? Or do you mean the first price that they have to pay is like a wound that we offer two options, or then it's death and we offer two options of how that goes?
What an incredible question, actually. Give me just a second, because I actually don't know the answer to that.
Of course, if they would then have one, because they might only have one choice and then they might survive, or, we still actually also didn't decide what type of game this was.
That's true.
We skipped that part. But
it's kind of fun to just vibe it out.
It's kind of like we're figuring it out as we go, so I feel like it's going to work out anyways. But yeah. And I think we all have ideas for what type of game it's becoming, which is fascinating.
Yes, that is fascinating now that you say it. Ha cool. Scenes. Okay, here it is finally. Okay. I found the area. Okay, the clash.
The clash.
I see. Okay. So
not the Rush. The Clash, a different band.
Bad, but also fun. No, okay, so it is just two separate like posing of different prices.
Okay,
so,
cool.
Yeah, but thank you.
Two sets of selections. Okay,
at least that's the way that I'm interpreting it. As
I like
first
here.
One wound
that seems right
between
to me.
you or I. Second one, death between you or I.
It's fun to give the wanderer choices. Just choose how they
Yeah, I like that. I think both work as rules, and I was just like, I'm just curious as to what we're doing with it.
Yeah.
So that I don't mess it up.
Okay. Oh no, guys, the pressure's too much.
Go with your gut. This feels like a game that is very much that.
Yeah, I think that's true.
I think we should go to the finale.
Hell yeah.
Respect that 100%.
Okay. And
so then
I understand that I have privilege to priority here to take the world role. But just for a moment, I would like to know if somebody really wants to take it.
The world role? Well, didn't you say that if we go, then we maintain what we are now?
World is taken by someone who has a good idea for the adversary, and then after the reveal, between the revelation and the clash, the roles stay the same.
Yeah.
Got you.
So, who here feels they have a good idea for who the adversary is?
Let me take a look.
Don't be shy. You can say it. Yeah, Anthony does. I also feel like I have a good idea who the adversary is.
Everyone's got a good idea? All right.
Yeah, but you priority. So if you feel like you got a good idea, then you take it.
Let's go, Anthony.
All righty, here we go. Okay, so just to review what's about to happen, we go into the revelation, we reveal the adversary, basically that's it that happens, and then we have the clash. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. The Wanderer stands in their prison of glass, blood-soaked. They flex their wings, and so does the glass colossus that surrounds them. Wanderer. No, never mind. As they soak it in, something begins to happen. The moon, twinkling stars, they begin to blur out. We begin to lose them. A darker darkness filling the air. And then the words start coming. Timeless. Thief. Sands. The birds begin to descend all around. Sparrows blotting out the sky and then filling the fields around us. Then larger birds. Larks. Blackbirds. Each of them coming to land, tearing at the final vegetation that rests in this place, ripping the moss. They are so hungry, starving. And then the sky settles. A cacophony of birds crying out all around you. Words, single words shouted. And then even they quiet. As one last shape blots out the moon for a second. And lets out a caw that cuts the night in two. On the beak of the glass colossus lands a crow. A crow of normal size. For a second, preens. And then it drops down, mere feet from the Wanderer, and looks up, cocks its head, and stares into the Wanderer's eyes. Just for a second, I'd like to know what, if anything, Thorn does.
I think Thorn stares back, meeting its gaze, head held high, finally realizing who she is and who they are.
Crow opens its beak. Hungry? It calls. Hungry? Brought food! And at that, all the birds rise from the ground in a thundering. And so does the crow. And as Thorn looks up, the shape of a great crow, composed of tens of thousands of birds, riles in the sky above them. Feast! The birds cry in unison. Feast! And the dark crow shoots towards the ground, beak open. That's the revelation.
That's going to move us smoothly into the clash. Amanda, what does Thorn do?
I think Thorn flaps her wings, dashing to the side, dodging the blow.
And
Shielding herself with one of her wings as she does.
the composite body of the great crow smashes into the ground and rolls, and one of its wings smashes against yours, and glass tinkles down. It forms words, it does. Words of the ancestors. Kurt, what does it say?
Out of time.
The body rolls across the ground, and as you look down, you can see many, many hundreds of bodies of fallen birds left crushed into a paste on the rock, left behind, no longer needed by the crow, as it takes up again and swoops around this island, this platform that you are on. Nothing, says the birds, the left wing, and the feet, left too! And then the right wing, eat! And then from the belly of the beast, accept! And then the crow's head, our children! And it comes back towards you, beak open, hungry.
Now, it sounds like that first was a wound, was it not? To the adversary?
Sure, it was a wound, but we have to pay a price.
Sure do.
Sure do. Kurt, do you want to go with a price first?
Nope.
All right. I just activated Siri. I'm just desperately asking Siri. I'm like, what's a good price?
Help me.
In order to move as swiftly as you do in this body of glass that you've inherited, this is an echo of a cost that you offered me. You have to let yourself blend into it. Bleed into whatever creature of your blood this was before it became a greenhouse. Do you let yourself merge?
Or the hourglass breaks and the sand falls to the ground. A final rest.
I merge with the beast.
You relax. And in the moment of rolling away, you know you need to merge with whatever this was. The glass creaks as you do, and you hear it echo inside your mind. Granddaughter, it echoes. I loved him. What could I do but become an image of him? Keep him company.
I think as Thorn hears this voice, she relaxes her shoulders and rolls her head back, rolling out from within the key that she was given. Feeling for it with a wing beneath her now new skin, beneath her feathers, she moves it up, adjusts it, and plunges it into her own heart, turning it, opening up fully to the power of her ancestors.
And as she does, she sees the gardens, lush and dense, as they once were. Gardens of grain and fruit spreading as far as the eye could see. And in the beautiful baths at the apex of this creation, a handsome swan, fed by his many admirers, fed from the gardens. You are a woman, touching the side of the swan's head, great love in your eyes. And then you're back, merged with your ancestor, merged to your new body, and looking down at a massive shadow blocking out the screaming stars.
I think Thorn pushes down with her claws on the ground and rockets herself upward, beak aiming for the crow at the center of the creature. A determination in her eyes, a loss of humanity behind them. Woo!
Amazing. This, if it were to strike, could be the killing blow. Right there in the center of the beast is the crow itself, the singular crow. Your glass beak aimed at its breast. But there's a price to pay. You hear screaming in your mind, in your soul. No! She screams. We love him. We feed him. He made us. If you kill him, you kill me. You betray all of us. Flee to the stars. If you strike, you'll kill your grandmother and blacken your soul. Or,
Yes, she screams. End it. Save us, so we may be sent to the stars. But the screaming you hear is of a different sort. You couldn't possibly hear from here. The sound of many voices, risen in pain, as a white cliff on a distant shore turns to sand, and all its structures and people fall to the sea.
Thorn twists as the voices in her mind echo. She looks down, she looks up, she looks over. Her whole body twitches. She looks at the crow and the stars blinking just beyond all of the little spaces in between the birds that make up the great beast. She exhales sharply. And she screams as she plunges her beak into the center crow. She screams a scream that echoes, that seems to crack in her throat. And I think, do both of these things happen? Because it's not really much of a choice, is it? It's more of like a this and that, it feels like.
you get to decide whether you kill your ancestors and betray your line, or destroy the white cliffs far off. What's the sacrifice?
I think. But the people on the cliffs were like, free us. So wouldn't that be a good thing?
The ancestors' voices said free us. The people on the cliffs did not.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so in Kurt's scenario, I free my ancestors, but the people on the cliffs die.
Yeah.
In Anthony's scenario, my ancestors just die.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Suppose that's fair.
I think my ancestors die.
The glass beak plunges deep to the heart of the crow. The crow does not die at once. Continues to thrash its wings. Continues to stare through the glass of the beak right into Thorn's eyes. But around it, the birds begin to die. Falling from the air one by one, the cloud dropping like small gnats. Feel a wrenching in your mind, a tearing of your being in two. The woman whose fingers trace the swan's neck. She begins to bleed from her eyes, from her mouth, and she drops dead into the water. And as she does, she gurgles a final phrase. You were meant to save us. You became the devil. Her body drifts into the bottom of the pool, and you feel your mind begin to uncloud. No longer linked to your ancestors, but just Thorn. Crow's eyes, still staring back at you. I was just hungry. Why couldn't you have fed me? Now all turns to dust. And the crow dies. And you fall back to earth. I will hand my role over to the chorus as we enter the epilogue.
That's me. If they're still alive, the Wanderer has a choice. They can replace the adversary, either personally, if they want the job, or with a hand-picked successor, or with some sort of cunning machine, or by whatever means the word replace suggests, or, regardless of whether or not they have survived this, they may abandon the area and move on. So, Wanderer, which happens,
Think that Thorn falls to the earth, broken, battered, lost. And yet, something compels her to keep moving. She cracks open the casing that was once the crow, bursting forth from its chest, covered in blood and feathers. There's a hole in her chest where her heart once was. But her feet move steadily, though her eyes look like they're seeing something in a completely different place, far off in the distance. One foot, and then the next. Slow at first, and then she moves faster until she's running. From what? From what?
And then slowly, imperceptibly slowly, an island in the sky is a little bit lower, and a little bit lower, and a little bit lower. And then all at once, like a figure springing to life after careful thought, it crashes to the ground below. That's our game of Bleak Spirit, folks. Thank you so much for joining us today. What a session that was for me personally. Whew.
That was really cool.
That was crazy. It was like, what's even happening? And every time you reassess it, it changes. And I love how with this game, I feel like what I started with was closer to where we ended than the journey I went on in between. It's weird how like inherently I feel like I was more tuned into like where we ultimately took it at the end.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Which means something like my brain was stuck where you started.
Right.
Bleak
Did you guys
Spirit.
change a lot? Can I just ask? I'm definitely gonna go back and
Oh,
listen
the end
after the stream is done.
I would say the very end completely departed from how I imagined we got there. So yeah, when we entered the realm of ancestors, I would say that was nowhere on my bingo card.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like a big moment in this for me was the touching of the statue.
Ooh.
I
Interesting.
think Anthony, did you do that? Did you
Yeah.
caress the statue?
I caressed the statue, yeah.
That was like personal connections.
Aha.
Is all I could think about. And I wasn't necessarily thinking where you took it, but I was kind of in the similar area at one point to that. So that's interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah. So then when I took the role of, which I don't even know, was I supposed to take the role or was it just like whoever says, is it just whoever steps forward?
Well, you mean at the very, very end?
Yeah.
I think it matters more in a game with more people. The
Right.
whole idea is that we rotate all the way around so that the person who's well, I guess I'll just explain structurally. If there's more than 3 people, there's multiple people in the chorus chiming in and providing details, maybe taking up multiple characters.
Got you.
You could theoretically have more than one NPC the whole game.
Yes, we could.
But I think we had the right NPC.
We only needed one.
That's right. You just got to pick it well.
Lockwitch is OP. That's all you need. Okay, that's cool. Is it based on the order that you had then before, or it really is just
So you rotate all the way around so that someone who is currently the chorus, who it's been the longest since had one of the 2 central roles, that person becomes the epilogue narrator, and then the person, I guess, to their left then would be the wanderer. But since it was 3 of us, I didn't think it really
it's just
mattered.
kind of whoever does what.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, because we're all here. We're all getting a chance to weigh in.
We'll all do something.
We're all do something.
We're all do
I actually
something.
really liked 3 because I felt like with 2, I sometimes would have trouble. I think if I was coming up with 2 different prices, that would be tricky for me. So having backup from the chorus was nice.
I love Atomic Sorcery's comment here. I would say that Anthony was about the cosmology, Kurt was about world, and Amanda was about the afterlife. As a summary of wherever we took these things,
where our brains are at.
That's cool.
That's cool.
That's cool.
But it's weird because I also feel like all of them kind of work like together. Like when you guys were saying that you kind of saw it as like 3 sort of different things, I was like, here, I don't know what everyone else said, but I was like, but in a way, even though we have probably different things happening in the back of our minds about what this means, I felt like we were all very in unison with where things were going.
Everything felt right to
everything
me.
felt, yeah, like you never said anything that I was like, oh, that doesn't make any sense. Like, so it's weird because it's like we're all in tune, but like it's like a harmony is what it feels like. It was cool.
It was
It
very
was
cool.
really cool. It's a very unique experience. I've never played an RPG that was like this. I think this is very unique.
It's really neat.
I like that
Okay.
we got to basically speak in, like, the only way we had to communicate to one another about this underlying thing was through story, and that was very cool, right? Like, there was some information sharing, but all we could do was just be like, and then this happens. And that, I just thought it was really
this
cool.
happens.
Really, really
Although
cool.
I noticed that I have a tendency at the end of things that I'm saying to add like some kind of meaning to it. So I near the end, I was like, just don't, whatever the last thing you're going to say is, don't say that, because I always say in my last thing, like, here's what's going on, kind of, and it's like, just don't say that.
Actually, the very first thing I said, I either said or almost said the wanderer thinks or the wanderer feels, and I was like, oh, fuck it.
Yeah, it's like, damn
So
it.
easy to do.
I know it's so intuitive to like try to explain what you mean when you say something. And I'm like, don't say what you mean, just say
That's
what's
not
happening.
what this game is.
So I'd love to play it again to try to like really quash that voice in my head that feels the need to explain. It's like, don't explain anything. Just let it be.
I know that this is not my role on the stream, but man, it would be fun to play that again,
Yeah,
Be fun
yeah,
to
that
play
was
again.
really cool. And there's no rule against doing another one shot in the same system sometime.
Yeah.
I definitely think we should come back to this one like after we go and do some other stuff. It would be cool to revisit and kind of see where it takes us, because I feel like each game is probably very different.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I think it must be. But in the interim, it seems we have reached the end of another session of Lies You'll Enjoy. Amanda, is there anything you want to plug today?
I'll be uploading videos to YouTube as per usual, and I will be streaming Wednesday night at 10:30 p.m. probably ish EST to chat comics. Hopefully, I kind of have like a pretty crazy Wednesday, but I'm hoping to get on. So if you don't see me, know that I'm fine. But hopefully we'll be on talking comics with Uptown Duck. So that'll be my next stream. And check out the YouTubes, follow me on Twitch, blah blah blah.
Blah, 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 indeed.
Mhm.
Anthony, any words of wisdom? It's a good one.
Yeah. That's what I got for you today.
Great.
Anything for you, Kurt? Do you already say it? I was tuned out.
Yeah, no, I haven't said anything. I'll say, so we're slightly too late to catch them live, but Moonshot has just finished. They started after us and finished before a game of sock puppets. It's like an hour long. If you'd like to see people play
Whoa.
through sock puppets, they had some beautiful puppets. So please feel free to jump over to Moonshot and watch the VOD and tell them how cool it was, because it looked like a lot of fun. So
Moonshot? Is it just spelled like how it
Moonshot.
sounds?
Yep, sure is.
Like that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's them.
They don't have a picture?
Is it? Well, I'm pulling it up now so that I can see if this is real.
Moonshot Network?
No. It must be, yeah.
Yeah, no, I have it here. I was all ready to grade over to it, but
I knew this was possible. Yeah, sorry, it's Moonshot Network, one word. Yeah, 1 hour, 1 minute. That's about right.
I gotta wait to give another shout out.
Well,
how do I shout
you're
these
gonna
out?
have to type it out yourself, folks. You're gonna have to type it out yourself. Anyway, that's all from us today. So, Anthony, have you scrounged up anybody of interest for our little passing of the baton?
No! I was so gaming on Moonshot Network, realized I didn't have it, found someone else, but then they also stopped, and I don't have anybody. Why don't we head over to... We go back to our quantum buddies from last week? Why not? Let's say hi to them again. If you've got some more RPG in you, why don't we head over to the Lollygaggers, and they are playing Quantum Boogaloo, a cool time-themed game right now. Let's do that. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you so much. Every time.
Yes.
Nice. Thank you so much, everyone. And I did put Moonshot Network in the chat, the link, so you can click the link and then follow them that way. Because yeah, we still have 35 seconds on the shout out timer, and I don't know if I can give another shout out while we're doing a raid. I'm not
It's
sure how that
fine.
works. So,
You don't need to
but
do
I
all
put
the
it in the
things,
YouTube
folks.
chat and I put it in the Twitch chat if you guys want to check them out, because Sock Puppets is so fun. So definitely go watch the VOD if they have one up. I would highly. It's so fun.
And speaking of VODs, we're all about to go watch the
And
VOD
funny.
to go find out what each other said in that secret little session. Thank
And
you
we will
all.
see you all in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Sounds good.
Weeks.
Okay. Adios. Have a good night, everybody.